I watched Bruce Campbell in Burn Notice, I believe it is.
Okay.
It's like a spy kind of show thing, and he played like charismatic man in that as well. So he's got
Like
the
I'm guessing a little bit goofy.
yes, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course,
Um,
charisma plus goof equals that man.
but yeah, no, the series is like the perfect balance of just enough. It's like 30% horror,
Mm,
70% comedy,
mm,
um, with some likable characters, mostly well acted, and it still feels like an 80s or 90s movie the whole way through.
mm.
So
Cool, cool.
there's some there were multiple scenes that made me audibly react like holy shit, and it was the
Oh, really?
effects the effects range from really bad to actually pretty good.
Oh,
And
interesting.
oh god, some of the creative kills they've come up with are
Yeah,
fucking brutal.
I bet. I bet. Yeah, no, I've been looking forward to actually getting to it once I actually because I know I have watched I think it was Evil Dead 3
Did he go back in
long
time?
ago.
Back in
Yeah, where
time?
he went back
Yeah,
in
that's
time.
3.
Yeah, I watched that
when
a
the movie
long
went
time ago.
full on comedy.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Like I remember scenes of that being like him with like skeletons around and I was
Yeah.
like
Oh yeah. Oh, the super bad stop motion skeletons.
yeah, 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 yeah. I was
Yeah.
just like, "Oh, yeah. Yeah, that okay." But again, it's been so fucking long cuz that I think I was like 10.
Oh damn.
No, no. Conscious memory maybe like 13.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know. It was super long ago. That's all I remember. All right. Well,
Where's Aiden?
he's dead.
Ah,
Again.
no.
No, he'll be here shortly.
Which
So
watch together do you guys use?
the here
Campaign one?
I'll give you
Okay.
the link. I'll give you
Is it not the
um
campaign one?
no.
Oh,
No, I have my own TableTalk one, my
you're
dude.
so professional.
No. I resent that. um well, hello out there. Welcome back to Table Talk,
Hi.
discussion and discourse. I, as always, am your host, Alejo, aka Greydon95, and today we have joining us our good friend over here, Brogan, aka No Nat Ones.
I'm only a good friend?
Well,
Hi.
okay, all right, great friend. Jeez,
Thank
okay,
you.
you're welcome.
Hi guys, I'm here to talk about random crap, and I'm ready.
Yes, good, as you should
I'm
be.
full of
Um,
McDonald's, so I'm prepared.
that's good. What did
Man,
you
I got the
get?
cheeseburger. Well, let me fucking
Oh,
tell
oh
you.
my god! So I'm sorry.
I
I
was
didn't realize.
ready. I got the cheeseburger bundle,
Mm-hmm.
because it was on the menu and it was easy to say rather
Oh,
than ordering a bunch of different things.
sure.
So it came with 2 cheeseburgers, 20
Uh-huh.
nuggies, 2
Uh-huh.
medium fries, and then I
Jesus
got a drink on the
Christ.
side. I'm saving some of it for more. I'm not eating all
Thank
of it
fuck.
myself. But I had like the cheeseburger, the fries, and like 6 or 7
That's
nuggies.
fair. You
So
know
I'm in a
what?
good place.
Okay, fair enough. Um, yeah, man. Like, I went to McDonald's around here, and they had just like I had looked to their menu online because I was
Mhm.
like, I don't know how much things are sometimes, so I wanted like 20-piece nuggets, right?
Yep.
And I looked at it, and they had the what was it? There's like a 40-piece nugget meal that you can
Yeah.
get.
Yeah, I think it's like $20 for 40 nuggets, 2 large fries, and 2 drinks or something like
Yeah,
that.
so
Yeah.
it was like I think it was actually it's only like $15 plus tax, obviously.
Okay.
Um, but it didn't say that where I was looking, and I was
Oh.
like, oh, okay, well, it's probably it said like 9.99 plus some, and I was like, somewhat, and so I went and I got it, and I was just like, oh, and I shared some with family, and then it was like, yeah, all right, this is all right. I'm okay with
Yeah.
this. I don't feel too bad.
That's what I've noticed about McDonald's is it is greasy, it is sodium filled and
Yeah.
will kill you, but I've never had like a negative bodily reaction to it.
The only time I have now is because of cheeseburgers.
Really?
Yeah, they're regular burgers. I haven't had one for a while, at least, but cheese, like, their burgers would kill me.
Of all the things.
Well, it's
Weird.
also because of the little thing that we did, the little pseudo paleo thing that we did that like
so
cleaned
your body
me
wasn't
out. Yeah.
used to it. That's fair.
Yeah,
What's
yeah,
up,
yeah.
Doradier?
Yeah, hey, how's it going? So, I gotta ask you a question, my man.
All right, I might give you an answer.
Okay, well, it's up to you. But I have been asking questions of our guests, and you haven't been on for how long?
Not
has it been?
at least since my house burned down.
Yeah, I think the last time that you were on, even for a moment, was like episode 27, and that's
God.
I think it's been that fucking long. I could
This
be
freaking
wrong.
year, dude.
Yeah, dude,
This
I know.
freaking year.
So, hey, Draco Kraken. Oh, the
What's up,
usual
Kraken?
D&D got canceled, so here I am. Well, unfortunate for you, but fortunate for us.
Hey.
So, Brogan,
Hi.
I would love to know what your, out of every RPG... Oh, hello!
Iden?
Hello! How are
Iden!
you?
I'm well, wrestling with Amazon.
Oh, how's that going?
How's your grapple check?
Yeah.
Well, I ordered something and it was like, it'll get there between May 27th and May 28th.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's weird. And I checked on it today and it's still the same day. And like, just for shits and giggles, I decided to reorder it and see if I could select an earlier day. And I could select day after tomorrow.
Oh.
And it's from the same seller.
Oh.
Is it more shipping?
Nope. It's free.
Oh.
Hey. Well.
Confusing.
Yeah, confused. I tried to cancel my order and it's like, you're gonna have to contact the seller.
Oh, I hate it when
And
it does that.
I'm like, fine, whatever. And I sent a message to the seller saying basically, I've canceled my order, and rebought the one for day after tomorrow.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, welcome. Good to have you.
Hello, I am your second host.
There he is.
ItsSneakyAdolf.
I always give him the chance to, because he always does it, even if he's a little late. It's great. I can rely on this boy. Oh, and if you're wondering,
That's what this podcast needs is consistency.
If you're wondering, our third host is at work still. He will be late, but he will be here. So he will get he will get here. Anyway, I was going to ask you. Yes,
I was so ready.
I'm so sorry. So I want to know your most wanted to play TTRPG and your least wanted to play out of all the ones that you are aware of, that you haven't played yet.
Oh, geez, that's tough.
Yep.
I don't have a lot of time to research games I haven't played. I've always wanted... I don't know, because part of me wanted to say Call of Cthulhu or Shadowrun, but I have played those now. God, that's tough.
If you would like to know a few of ours, just for inspiration.
Okay.
So for Aiden over there, we went through a bit of a journey. With at least both least wanted and most wanted, because reminding of things. So first he was like, Fate. And I was like, oh, like Fate of Cthulhu. And then he went, oh, Fate of Cthulhu. Yeah, no, that.
No.
Right?
Fate Core is fine, but...
So this is the thing. Fate is fine. I also am of this opinion that I don't want to play Fate. I really...
At all?
Not really, no.
Two rules light?
It's just the way that it goes about with, like, hey, just tell me something in the area that is here and you now have it. You know, it more it more plays with the world out of world in a way.
It's much more shared storytelling.
Which is fun. Like, that's the thing. Yeah. I'm okay with that in certain things, but for Fate, I don't know what it is. Fate just kind of throws me off, you know?
I wonder if you wouldn't like City of Mist for the same reason, because it functions.
No, see, looking into City of Mist, I actually really am excited for that. It seems interesting, and the thing that kind of gets me about that is, I don't know, like, the more super powered aspect of it makes it feel okay. I don't know. I'm weird.
Yeah. No, I mean, aside, like, the big difference from City of Mist and Fate is that City of Mist is just slightly deeper. They still function in the same vein of, like, oh, there's a thing here, so I will use it to gain a bonus. You know, they're, like, they have, like...
So this is, well, so if there's something in the area and you use it and you get the bonus, fine. For Fate, it's, you spend a Fate point, it's there now. It wasn't there before.
I did forget about Fate points. Yes, where
Fate points are what fuck with me.
The player, yeah, they are interesting because they're like Pathfinder hero points to the max of. Yeah. I get to be the DM for 5 seconds.
Exactly, and I'm not so I don't like that both from both ends. I don't know. I don't like when I can just auto do things as a player sometimes. You know. And then it went from Starfinder to Mech Warrior for Aiden because we had to remind, of course, Boo came in and was like, "Do you remember Mech Warrior?" And he was like, "Oh."
That's TTRPG?
Yeah.
Give me.
Interesting.
Well,
okay. I want Missile Mech, and I want him now. And if I can't have Missile Mech, I want him to have a big fist that he uses to punch.
There you go. Yeah.
So I think the one I most want to play right now is City of Mist. It's the one I know the most about that I haven't gotten to play. Least excited to play is a tougher one because I don't think about ones I don't want to play much.
Exactly, right?
Just because it's the only one I can think of. I guess the one I'm least excited to play, I'm glad Boo isn't here, is probably 7th Sea.
Oh, okay.
It seems like a fine, cool system. But it doesn't seem like a system where you can't do it in one of the other systems. You know what I mean? Okay. It brings a few things to the table, and I really don't like the hero dice, villain dice system. Yeah, I really, honestly, similar to the reason that you hate the fate point system. I remember Boo explaining, like, oh, if you use your powers, then I, as the bad guys, get stronger. And I'm like, oh.
It seems a little strange. On paper, right? In practice, dunno, right?
Right, yeah, I haven't played it, so.
Yeah, so...
What's up, Roy?
Hey.
I don't know. I think, conversely, the idea of, like, there being an ever-changing balance, so to speak, between the DM and the players, the sort of, the dynamic power system, so to speak.
Sure. And I talked to Boo on that front, and the way he described it, the game is designed to function in that you don't metagame the power dynamic, I guess. So like you don't not use your powers because they'll give the DM a villain point, and that gets so weird in my brain because I'm like, I'd rather just use my non-special powers and not make the enemy stronger.
Continuing with my point before the middle of my sentence interrupted the beginning of yours.
Sorry, you paused, so I slid in there. You paused for a quarter of a second.
Slid into those DMs.
Oh, just call me.
So I really like the idea of the dynamic power system, and I think it can be a very rewarding play style. Because there aren't any other TTRPGs that do that, so I'd like at least to experiment with it. I don't know if it'd be something I would implement in TTRPGs in general, but I'd like to at least give it a shot and see what's up with it, and then make my judgment on it.
Well, to actually go off of that into a segue, if you forget, which you seem to have, the Star Wars systems that we talked about last time actually do use something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, with the fucking whatever it's called. I don't remember what it's called, but it is called something. Force points or something like that. Where it's, if you use them, the dark side gets them, and then vice versa, right? And speaking of, we have a few comments to go over before we get into the topic proper. So apologies, Brogan, you're going to be a bit out of the loop for a bit. But,
okay.
Yeah. Feel free to chime in if you want to.
I will.
Okay. Hey, James Beck. Seems scary to see all that power in the player's hands. I assume... See, this is the thing. I assume there is some kind of balance with it. Because with the way that it goes, wouldn't you want to use your strongest thing regardless, right? And wouldn't the other people also want to use their strongest things? Just to try to stop you, and so it becomes that ever-shifting balance, where you just go, hey, I'm really strong, and the other guy goes, I'm also strong, and then you just keep being strong at each other.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that, let's both sides go all out all the time kind of dynamic.
Well, that's the thing. I assume, again, it's situational, right? I don't know. I really don't know. I would have to see powers, I would have to see the situations that are being put forth, like... I assume there's some semblance of, you can't use this power right now because it wouldn't make sense, right? I don't know. But anyway, comments. So, last episode we talked about a few TTRPG systems that were Star Wars based. And so, Indigo Dragon says, great video topic, and I wish I had been there for it live, but real life being intrusive... Yep. On fun, you all know how it goes. Gotcha. Real life being real life and being intrusive. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Unfortunate. On the topic of Star Wars RPGs, from 1989 to today, there have been 2 editions of WEG D6 Star Wars, 3 different D20 Star Wars games published by Wizards of the Coast, and 3 from Fantasy Flight Games. Although you could say that the 3 from Fantasy Flight Games are 1 game spliced into 3 different focused themes. I would say that, though. No, yeah, I would say that. There has never been an official D100-based, skill-focused edition, just for the record. The WEG D6 system does a great job of being a skills-focused game, but it did have the big problem of Jedi to non-Jedi power disparity at higher dice pool counts. But that's also how Star Wars is, so it shouldn't be a deal-breaker for true Star Wars fans. We'll see. The thing about the Wizards of the Coast D20 versions is the first 2, Star Wars D20 and Star Wars Revised Edition, were similar to how they did D&D 3.0 and 3.5. Revised Edition was a good upgraded revision of the first attempt. I see. Okay. The third D20 game they did, Star Wars Saga Edition, was a completely new game, built more from the chassis of D20 Modern than D&D. And this is, in my opinion, the best designed officially published Star Wars RPG ever made. Oh. There is so much good in Saga Edition, and it made playing non-Jedi fun as hell. There are some unique mechanisms in Saga Edition that nobody has yet adapted to other games. Saga Edition is also a precursor to D&D 4e, but don't let that be an issue. A lot of the good that's in Saga's structure, they didn't port over to 4e. In my opinion, Saga Edition is the best D20 system game ever made. Strong claim. Okay, interesting. 4e bites in comparison. I liked the first video you guys shared. The guy did explain how Fantasy Flight Games' narrative dice system works, but he botched it by showing the D4 symbols. The green and purple dice aren't D4s, but are D8s instead. Oh. That's a big fuck up.
That's not even dice that are like right next to each other. Number one's like D6 into D8 or D6 into D4.
Yeah.
I mean, if you put two
that's a whole
D4s
step
on top
over.
of each other, don't you have a D8?
That is true.
Yeah,
but...
if you just duct tape them together, it's the same thing.
There you go.
Exactly.
This dice system is the same dice system that Fantasy Flight Games ported over into their Genesis system RPG. Hadn't heard of that. Okay. Hope you guys have a great week. Thanks, Indigo. Okay. Interesting. Next up, we have Unit Rico, also on the same video, saying, "Oh yeah, I remember roleplay doing a campaign of the first game you guys covered with both a light and dark side group. It was great, and the system looked really interesting. I also remember looking into some of the Wizards of the Coast Star Wars books. As far as I know, they also had a source book about the Old Republic era, which is awesome because I love the KOTOR games. They're pretty great. As for the rebels became terrorists part at the time code that we said that, or were talking about it, I'm guessing it was a mistake he meant to say the remnants of the Empire. It makes a bit more sense in both the context in which he said it and also in the EU lore. That would make sense. We probably missed it. It's unfortunate.
For a second, I got confused because instead of established universe, I was thinking European Union. And I was like, what the fuck?
I think no, it's not established. It's expanded universe. Yeah, whenever EU is mentioned for Star Wars, it's expanded universe. But remember, that universe is dead. Disney killed it, so we don't have to worry about it anymore.
So technically, it's all canon now. Your original OC "Do Not Steal" is just as valid as Rey.
That's true. That's actually very true. Moving on, last comment. Also on last video from Lux Armok. Here we go, long boy time. I couldn't come up with a lot to talk about on this one, so I'll just give my opinion on that poll you mentioned. I wouldn't call the rebels in Star Wars terrorists. Armed rebellion against an oppressive dictatorship is not inherently equal to terrorism. The Empire would probably declare that they are terrorists, but that's just propaganda. Well, we were going by definitions, to be fair as well. But terrorism is generally considered a use of force, typically against a typically civilian population in order to achieve a political goal through intimidation. So here's the thing. That is the definition, and I will give you that. Typically civilian is not always civilian. That's the difference here. Blowing up a restaurant that members of a specific minority frequently visit in order to scare that minority into leaving an area would be a clear example of terrorism. Assassinating a public figure who strongly supports a political movement that the assassin opposes could also be considered terrorism. Even in a morally gray setting, terrorism is very much on the dark end of the scale. It is a label reserved for acts that most people would recognize as very clearly evil, which only extremists would consider justified. So again, I agree that is colloquially, I think I said it the same way twice.
You did, yes.
Okay. Regardless, that's the general public's knowledge of it, yes. But even so, I would still say that all of the rebels in Star Wars are, yes, very much terrorists. They might not target the public, but they are politically opposed to the current regime, and they are trying to deplatform it through violent means.
I would also argue that on the tabletop RPG alignment scale, terrorism is much more chaotic than it is evil.
Yes.
I could see a chaotic good, what's the word for it? Like devout missionary religious group.
Zealot.
A group of zealots, like assaulting non-believers to convert them as terrorism. They're still serving their good God in chaos.
I would be prone to disagree.
Yeah?
Simply because terrorism is, by sheer virtue of the word terror, is used to spread, to cause public unrest and fear In fact, there's an alternate definition of terrorism. I'll see if I can find it. That says that it's reliant upon fear and making people no longer feel safe in their day-to-day routine.
So would you not
as such, I would say is chaotic evil by definition.
Would you not classify them fearing that they are in a a group of people that are opposed to the current political system in this example, say with Brogan's example of the
chaotic good zealots?
Yes, the chaotic good zealots. If they were spreading that fear and unrest from or by making the point that the current person in power is actually a evil lich who is ultimately making them have a worse, existence, would you not consider that also spreading that fear and that kind of way of thinking in order to, and the public unrest, excuse me, in order to, make them change their minds and try to get them to get on their side?
So I think one of these things is not like the other. Comparing the Empire to an evil lich, you can just tell people, hey, he's a lich, here's proof. And that's just no, hold on. Okay. You'll that's just an openness of information sort of thing.
Sure.
But I believe that harming harming people with the effects of your terrorism, or spreading fear without needing to, are especially to civilian targets. Is this an evil act?
So yes, I agree. If you do it unnecessarily, sure, but this is not the case of just the word and just the acts. I would also say yes, if it is just a lich, then sure. So then that instead of that, we'll go with a king, right? Who is unfortunately, again, like a different god is something they are worshiping or something. That's why the zealots are after him. Or he doesn't worship a god. And so they're trying to instill that kind of fear as well.
I would still say it's terrorism for sheer fact of civilian targets should not be.
Well, so you are agreeing that it is terrorism, but we're not. But then this isn't being used in an evil way. That's the thing. This is being used in order to spread the good, right? This is not because of. This is not, well, you've just said that yes, it is terrorism. In which case, those zealots, those chaotic good zealots, who are not doing this intentionally to the public, they are not targeting, or they are targeting the public, but they're not like destroying them in any way. They're trying to convince them in order to cause that unrest and that terror.
Oh! I see what you mean. I would say that if they are
propaganda.
If they're talking to the public and then like passing out like pamphlets or whatever to get the word out there, right. I would say that is not terrorism.
But
blowing up a school is terrorism.
So you think converting and turning an entire city against its ruler from the outside forces is not terrorism?
Well, because
they have the choice to.
This is the difference.
Join the religion.
Yes, this is the difference. I'm not talking about propaganda. I guess I should continue. Then, because of this, they are actively at war, like going against armed factions that are serving the king. They are actively trying to destroy those forces in order to then continue to say we are stronger than this, as well as to spread that message of you are not safe under this man. That is terrorism.
I'd like to back up for a second to talk about when Aiden mentioned harming and scaring the people as an evil act.
Sure.
Harming and killing, 100% agreed. If they're going in with pitchforks and saying, "Are you with us? No, stab," that is an evil act.
Sure.
However, fear is not innately evil. People fear chaos for chaos' sake. This does not make chaos evil.
Yeah.
So using fear through propaganda and other means is not inherently evil, and thus that good or neutral terrorism by utilizing fear is absolutely viable.
I mean, fear-mongering has been a propaganda technique for as long as the recorded history's been around.
Sure. But so again, since it is zealotry plus just for that, and the analog is then Jedi against Sith, right? The analog becomes that zealotry against that zealotry. They are fighting each other, and yet they are, well, at least for the original trilogy, they are fighting to dethrone the Emperor. And they are trying to convince other people of that by, well, taking him down, really. Because they don't try to convince shit. The fucking rebels are the ones who are trying to spread out and get people on their side. So I would, again, that is terrorism, but it is not evil, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. Cool. So then we agree then that.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Hey, we got there.
Terrorism.
Terrorism isn't always evil. Hey.
But it's usually not the right option.
Oh, absolutely. Not a good thing to do. Fucking don't do that.
Guys, like the video if you're all about that.
No, please. Oh, God. If we were monetized, we would be super in the hole. This video is going to get shadow banned. I know it.
So, who wants to subscribe?
There's so much stuff that we missed here. I mean, just because Disney doesn't have it being canon doesn't mean you can't enjoy it. Never understand some people. Yes. Oh, absolutely. Oh, of course. I mean, some average Joe was working at that blaster factory. Well, yeah. Just because he didn't die in the explosion doesn't mean our cause is bad. Yes. What's up, peeps? Here for a short bit before heading out for my D&D game. Hey, Mog, you got in at a great time.
We're talking terrorism.
James says terrorism isn't bad in all cases. The American Revolution led to the United States. Fair.
Yeah.
Plus,
there are those who would consider the mass property damage that was a result of the Boston Tea Party an act of terrorism.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
I absolutely would, but I would not call it evil. Neutral.
Exactly.
At worst.
Yeah. Exactly.
And this is where the alignment system just doesn't work.
Yeah,
it's
this
totally
is why we
point of view dependent.
It's morally fine. There's nothing wrong with.
I would still consider it morally gray at best.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't think there's anything.
There are a lot of there are tea merchants over in London that this law could have.
They starved because of that.
Devastated.
Could have, yeah.
And again, technically, with all the quotes, the Americans were absolutely, the would-be Americans were absolutely in the wrong because they had agreed to all of these terms to serve Great Britain. So yeah, technically, Great Britain is the victim here.
There's also the fact that the Boston Tea Party itself did not serve to how to put this? There were no people that had their mind changed because of the Boston Tea Party in the Americas.
But hey, middle schoolers everywhere better learn about it.
The Boston Tea Party was only sticking up the middle finger to London. That's true. All it was.
Yep. It was a declaration. That's about it.
Of independence.
Yep. Plus we forget. The Empire has many sides too. Yeah, it overall was oppressive, but there were good individuals among its many ranks. Yes, we talked about that a little bit while we were covering the videos.
But a lot of them died in the Death Star.
Yeah. Oh, there were so many civilians in the Death Star. There had to have been.
Dude.
Yeah.
That is an act of terrorism. There you go. But that was.
Oh, I just assumed we'd all
ultimately
everyone.
Well, no. So what I want to say is that is bad. Like everything about that, bad. But at the end of the day, do the ends justify the means?
Good, yeah.
Right. We will never know because hopefully they never made movies after that. I don't know.
It reminds me of 2 points in particular. The first of which, ever since I've seen the Death Star explode, I've looked at like every explosion of like a factory or something in like movies and games. I like just pause and think to myself, how many civilians just got killed or injured or maimed?
Dude, that's what messes me up watching movies is when like a non-important character just gets thrown away and dies, and I'm like, wonder if he had a wife and kids.
Oh yeah,
we're not gonna find out he's dead for hours. Yeah. What was his childhood like? Did he have a best friend? What about his parents? And I just go down this depressing spiral for the hot dog stand owner who got shot in the crossfire.
Yeah, exactly. Because like I'm like, who basically just woke up in the morning, kissed their wife goodbye, went to their job, and then just died.
Yeah.
Like had no chance to make his peace with them or anything. Just like they're dead now. Like
that's the inherent thing that's supposed to make you not like the villain, or in some cases, apparently you're not supposed to think about it. Yeah, apparently you're not supposed to think about it in some cases because the heroes totally blew up a fucking building and nobody said anything. It's fine.
When the Joker blows up a hospital, it's meant to show how hateful the Joker is.
Sure.
And like how much I was gonna say how much you're supposed to hate him, but so you're supposed to hate the Joker for blowing up a hospital, but you're supposed to love Skywalker, what's his face? Luke Skywalker, I believe, was the son.
Yeah.
That blew up the Death Star.
Yes.
You're supposed to love him for blowing up the Death Star.
But
when an evil person does it, it helps to like serve like in character development.
Well, so
how evil that character is. But when a good guy does it, you're supposed to like just pass it off.
Well, so remember, yes, I was just about to say context matters because even Duradier said, I mean, the Death Star killed how many on Alderaan, and also was being used to destroy a planet, right? Like that was the whole purpose of it.
Whereas a hospital is saving lives. It is not hurting anybody except for their wallets.
Exactly. Yes. It depends on what country you're in.
That's true.
But since it was America, anyway, so
they're evil.
Yes. The old adage goes. Sorry.
It's just like the Tau mentality of the greater good. Like I can shoot that innocent person like square in the face.
Yeah.
If I know it's saving 100 other people.
Yeah.
Because most lives have been saved through this route. I have no problem harming this innocent civilian.
Right, exactly. And like that's why even with the joke, the ends justify the means, all that kind of shit. With the no movies. Like I would say, like, yes, of course, because that thing was being used by an evil man to do just evil things.
All bad.
And, like, why would you want a giant super weapon to be a thing? Why? But anyway, the old adage...
It's cool.
That's true. The old adage goes that one person's terrorism is another person's revolt. Unrest generates fear no matter what, so unrest in the name of change, even good change, is terrorism. I would agree.
Yep.
But Luke didn't blow up the Death Star out of any evil intent. It was literally just a super weapon. Yes, exactly. And Slazek says, all those dollar casualties for the hospital. I know.
Rest in peace, thousands of Washingtons.
Rip dollar. Anyway, that wasn't the end of the comment. We just went on that. So, continuing. I don't know about the novels, but the Rebel Alliance is never shown carrying out such an act in any movie. They are shown fighting against military targets that very clearly threaten their existence. The only non-military enemy they fight is Jabba the Hutt's gang, and that was a rescue mission, not a politically motivated attack. Still a civilian. Rogue One does establish the existence of one extremist faction of rebels who do engage in terrorism, but the Rebel Alliance as a whole does not condone such actions and very strongly condemns that particular group. Again, this is assuming that they are not terrorists because of from not killing civilians or targeting civilians. On the other hand, the destruction of Alderaan was absolutely an act of state-sponsored terror. A peaceful planet inhabited by millions of civilians was destroyed to demonstrate the Death Star's power in order to inspire fear and discourage resistance against the Empire. Oh yeah, that was a terrorist act. Absolutely.
Yes.
While it's true that the Empire maintains order in the galaxy, it's repeatedly made clear that they don't value the lives of their subjects and will commit acts of ruthless brutality to maintain their power. Therefore, they are not a government that should be entrusted with the authority they have been given, and the Rebel Alliance's resistance against them is justified. Yeah, absolutely. Super justified. Doesn't mean they didn't do good things. That's just how it is, unfortunately. Even with their not caring, they still maintained that order somehow, and somebody benefited from it, right?
I would also just throw out the context of the word terrorism itself.
Sure.
This is off the Wikipedia article.
Sure.
Terrorism is, in the broadest sense, the use of intentional violence to achieve political aims, which we've discussed thus far. However, what I found of note was the second sentence.
Yep.
It is used in this regard primarily to refer to violence during peacetime or in the context of war against non-combatants.
Sure. So, yep. And then in peacetime could be literally anything.
Yeah, peace is totally subjective.
Yeah.
Which is why we'll never know world peace.
Well, so there is. No, I wouldn't say it's subjective.
I wouldn't
first
say
off.
peace is totally subjective.
What I meant,
it's relative.
Yes,
but...
relative. Exactly.
That's fair. That's better. Yeah.
Yes.
I guess because if there is an evil king, but nobody's dying and everybody's able to afford to survive under his rule, and they live with that. And they're not attacked. They don't have to attack anybody. That's peace for them. It's corrupt and it's not good.
Yeah,
but it's peace.
It is their relative peace.
Mm-hmm. Relative peace. That is a nice grunge band name.
I mean, if anything, Batman and the justice system is a fault with the Joker. Guy murders thousands over his career and somehow doesn't get the needle, chair, or bullet from a pissed off cop. Yeah, well, they try, but
Can I just say, in every movie, in every TV show, and everything,
sure,
when they just watched a psycho killer murder 3 or more people in cold blood, and they still do the "put your hands up,"
oh yeah,
and they just watched him drive something into someone's skull.
No, at that point you shoot the guy. Yeah.
You know
not lethally, but shoot the knees, shoot the shoulders.
Yeah, you shoot the guy.
Disable him.
Absolutely.
You know what pisses me off is when Batman is caught in a chokehold and then jams his head back and you just hear the guy's neck make a sickening crack. And
I thought it was supposed to be his nose or his face.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be the nose.
I'm just giving an example.
I see.
Or I could just as easily say drives his elbow into someone's cheek and you hear a sickening crack of his neck. That guy is paralyzed for literal life.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're didn't kill anyone. I'm not a murderer. It's how many lives have you ruined?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Anyway, last paragraph. You could say that Star Wars made its villains clearly evil so that the audience could root for the heroes without hesitation. Of course, yeah. Yep. But if that's being said as a criticism, I would counter that there have been numerous governments throughout the history of the world that were exactly that evil, and resistance against those governments is not something anyone needs to feel any more qualms about supporting. The message is applicable to the real world, and it is a valuable one. I don't think anybody's criticizing the movie for portraying them as evil, because they were. Right, like there's no criticism for that, I don't think. Sorry, I should say I haven't heard any criticism that the Empire was portrayed as only evil. I haven't heard that because it doesn't matter. We can still infer these things just because the Empire is in charge, right? That they aren't like fully evil, and like no one person in there might be like every single person in there is entirely evil, right? We don't assume that because that's fucking dumb.
But it's painted that way because that's what makes for a better viewing experience in cinema.
Yes, quite literally in the movie. Otherwise, like you don't get all that nuance because it's not necessary. It's not a part of the story, right? Like that's not the story they're trying to tell, and it doesn't matter at that moment.
And you can see the shows that wanted to be a movie that wanted that kind of nuance. And I think a great example of that is the original Stephen King It miniseries.
Okay.
Where like it feels like one big movie, but it's 10 hours long because they wanted all that nuance. They wanted all that character development to make all the characters less one note.
Yeah, and I talked about it before in that episode, but I'll say it again. Firefly has that nuance. It definitely, like, it has both. It has this, and it has the showing of people in the Alliance that don't care. Because they send the medicine to the planet, and then hey, they're the crew of the Firefly of Firefly, because it's not the Firefly. They need to go steal it, and then they find out, and they go, oh fuck! But then you see, I'm spoiling it. I'm sorry. You see,
I'm gonna take my headphones off. I'll put it back on in like a minute. I might watch it someday.
they see that that the Alliance people are like, fucking, I don't care. Just send the guys on, you know? And so that's the thing.
I've not seen Firefly, so I will refrain from weighing in.
Okay.
Am I safe?
Yeah, you're good. Sorry.
Okay.
Cough, cough, Nazis. Yeah, exactly. They were portrayed as the Nazis. That's the thing. Anyway, so that's comments. Let us.
So what are we reacting to today?
We're not reacting. We're discussing.
What are we
But your discussion is a reaction to the video.
The reaction promotes the discussion. Yes.
I think the discussion is the reaction.
I guess. If we want to.
For those of us with critical thought, at least.
You guys are just a dirty react channel.
That's true. We are just a reaction channel. That's what we do.
You need to make just big goofy faces on your thumbnails then.
That's true. Yeah,
with
that's right.
The thumbnail of the other videos taking up 80% of your thumbnail.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I want to do. I want to make those thumbnails. Fox is the real evil empire for ending Firefly. That's true, Slay. That is true. Anyway, so everyone here is in the watch together. So today we are talking about something that is far away from what we were talking about before. We are talking about homebrew campaign tips. So this first video, as I switch over to it without that comment stuff on the screen, is by Game On. And it's write your homebrew RPG campaign with these 2 tricks. So, is everybody prepared?
Yes, I'm already impressed by the very algorithm-pleasing title. Let's see it.
Sure.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Game On. Yes, today we are bringing you the first episode of our new series called Homebrew Homeschool. As you might be able to gather from the title, this one is about how to write a homebrew adventure that is easy to run, enjoyable for your players, paced and thought out, and ultimately successful for everybody involved. So we're going to give you some pointers on how to help do that and approach things in this first episode in a couple of different ways.
Yes, so the best way to get started is to actually start thinking about our story.
Now, Justin and I come at this from kind of 2 different directions, which is probably not too hard for you guys to believe because we are often approaching things from different directions, but that makes a good video in the sense of it really kind of brackets how you can go about this. The first method that Justin will talk about, his preferred method, is one that I jokingly like to call the Jenga method. So he'll go over how he goes about it.
Jenga!
So yes,
Yeah, I was
we
gonna say.
like to colloquially call it the Jenga method, because what I like to do is I am very much a
Actions have
storyteller. I like to write a
consequences.
story. I'm actually pretty good at just writing down a story and just doing it willy-nilly. But how do you turn that into a game? You know, you can't just take a story and then just make it into a game. You have to do it different ways. And the way that I like to do it is what we call, again, the Jenga method, where we take set pieces from the actual story itself, pull it out, and give that free space is where the players are going to be making their choices. It's a really good way to help new players learn to play a game, or
The Jenga method, building a solid story, the tower, and pull pieces out for players to fill in the gaps and interact with the world.
I feel like this is a really easy way to pigeonhole yourself into accidental railroading.
Yeah, that's the problem that I
Yeah.
see, because this is you're not just giving the overview of like this is the outline. You seem to have already made the story.
Right. Like the example I'm thinking of right now is like Lord of the Rings and the fight with the thing, the Watcher in the water outside the Mines of Moria.
Okay.
And in this method, you know, he writes the before, he writes the mines, and then he puts the lake and puts the Watcher, and then just says, "Okay, go players. Whatever happens, happens." Like, but I pulled that fight out so the players can do what they will. But you know, they still have to reach the mines afterwards, and they still came from the same place.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I feel like this is a I don't think it's exactly what they're saying, but that's how it comes across.
This feels like it's a module, and yet
Yeah.
not, but yet a little bit more restrictive, I think. Because even with a module, yes, the module lays out how you're going to go through, but even with that, you can still, like, there, at least I feel that there is ways that you can just make it so that it's not beat by beat by beat by beat, right? Like, you're able to give them the freedom to have that, you know, they search around over here for a while and they talk to this NPC and then they get enamored by the NPC and follow him for like 4 sessions. But
Yeah.
this is really strange to just go, I have my fully written out story. This is how this point you get from A to C. I'm gonna take out B, and then they get to do it.
I think with how he's trying to explain this, a better name would have been the jigsaw method.
Yes.
You take the jigsaw puzzle and you take out like 50 random pieces.
Yeah.
And then your players can go.
Yeah, and
You know.
and again, it's like I don't see how you can assume, unless you are railroading them, that players are going to get from A to C. Like, they might go to D or 42, right? Like, you have no idea.
Right.
I'm
But
more of a fan of producing my story and world by extension, sort of around the player's actions and
Yes.
say, all right, well, they talked to, like, they barred this person from entering the tavern. How is that going to affect him and his friend's disposition toward it? Stuff like that.
Well,
yeah,
that's
I personally don't usually write more than 2 or 3 sessions ahead at most.
Yeah, same.
yeah. I sometimes just don't even write ahead. That's the thing.
Same.
It's just like we're all very reactive, I think, to what our players do. And like, this is just, it's so weird to then go, bubble, you're able to do things now, right? Like this, and then you can continue on later. You're not able to do anything differently now, but now you're able to do things differently. Now you're not, because you're now on this story beat. It's weird to me.
I think it's just in a weird explanation. I don't think he's saying.
I hope
so.
so.
Part A and Part C are scripted, but you can play Part B. I don't think that's what he's saying.
I don't think
but
so.
But that's how it comes across.
Exactly. If you use the Jenga method, how can you assume that the end will look anything like what you've planned? Yes. I feel like most TTRPG short stories should look like a web of semi-binary choices.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's why using a linear tall tower as an example is not the best. And again, that's why I think the Jenga puzzle or the jigsaw puzzle is better, because it is more like a web. They can go in different directions.
But the Jenga puzzle lets you go everywhere, dude.
It can fall in any direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you use the Jenga method, there's a chance your campaign just falls apart at any given moment.
Ooh, actually,
I don't.
Oh no!
Ooh.
That's how you play Jenga.
Yeah. I'm better. I'm better at what? I'm better at writing a homebrew campaign than a setting. I'm better at writing a homebrew campaign than a setting, I think.
Oh yeah.
Settings are far too complex to manage for me, at least. Sure, that's fair. I like having the I personally make the framework of the world, and then I think about what's going on in it. But it's definitely like easier to just do a single story. Excuse me.
I usually steal existing settings and then just alter them how I see fit.
Sure. He must have never played Jenga, pull the wrong block and it all falls down. Yeah, exactly.
New them as well. So if you were, I guess, like I said, new to the system, you could use that to help teach somebody how they could interact with the world, and they're not just...
Sorry, I'm gonna drag him back because I want that full sentence.
Teach them?
Yeah, this is weird for teaching.
Learn to play a game, story itself, pull it out, and give that free space is where the players are going to be making their choices. It's a really good way to help new players learn to play a game, or new to the system as well. So if you were...
I don't agree with it, because literally D&D is about freedom, right? I would say. There's a lot of choices that you can make, and if you make a linear kind of thing and then make new players go through it, they're going to get that impression of D&D is linear.
Well, next week I'll be starting a brand new campaign, so in it I have a brand new player to the system. So I will weigh in, I guess, back on this with a bit more knowledge of what it's like when a new player plays the system. But in general, like, having started a campaign with all new players before, the uncomfortability more comes with the character than the system. So people will be wondering, like, can I go to the shop and buy this?
Right.
Which the answer is an obvious yes to anyone who's familiar with this system. But it's just like them wondering, like, can I?
Right.
And like
not being comfortable to do it yet.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Not comfortable enough to like step their foot in the water, so to speak.
Yes. Yeah.
In general, I find it's not really an issue with continued plot. Plot kind of resolves itself by virtue of what the characters do anyway. I don't think that there needs to be a special writing strategy, so to speak, for how to deal with new players being unsure.
This sounds like a choose your own adventure style. Could be. That's the thing. D&D is the best choose your own adventure book you've ever read, right? Because
it's a one-step choose your own adventure is what he's talking about, where like 9 out of 10 choices are choices he's made for you.
Yeah.
And then you only choose step 4, and then the results of that are your final result.
Yeah, exactly. Much like my days from being a teacher, a lot of teaching a TTRPG is saying you can do that, but there will be consequences. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah,
There's
absolutely.
consequences for quite literally everything.
And I do think we are making a lot of presumptions that just because the tower is the example, that we're saying he doesn't change things for his players.
Well, so
Like,
obviously, if he says anything that contradicts what we've said, then we will amend. But even so, just this is general first impressions immediately. Like, this is 2 minutes in. You have watched enough now that you are at least interested, I assume. This is what comes to mind, you know?
I guess, like I said, new to the system, you could use that to help teach somebody how they could interact with the world, and they're not just playing through the DM story.
Well, sure, because I mean, what you're really talking about is starting with a solid structure that is 100% predetermined, and then pulling certain elements of predetermination out of that story and replacing them with role-playing options for players, right?
Exactly.
But ultimately...
Oh, exactly. Oh, okay.
Right. Didn't like that explanation.
Nope. So, no, we're
you have
correct.
You have
so
one
far.
of 4. You have one of 4 ways in how this can be resolved.
Yep.
Make your choice.
Make your
All right,
choice.
Alejo, let me paint a picture for you.
Sure, I would love a picture.
There's 2 roads.
Oh no!
Nobody in chat is gonna understand that in the slightest.
Oh, I think I've talked about it once before. If you remember
yeah.
that. Oh man.
Oh, but yeah, no, that's.
So yeah,
that
so exactly.
explanation. Telling them, okay, in this part you have control. No, they always have control.
Yeah,
I am fine with a predetermined structure. You know,
Sure,
the
yeah.
first 10 minutes of the game where you set the stage, everyone's in prison for whatever,
Sure.
that can be predetermined. But from there, the players need to have agency 100% of the time.
Hey, Alejo.
Well, yeah. Hello.
In your campaign where we played a bunch of like beast folk.
Yes.
Yeah, and some asshole ran away and let you all die.
You as much...
Oop,
Yeah.
Let me do that.
How did we react when one of us was a werewolf?
You went, hey, how do we get rid of that?
Wait, who was a werewolf?
Boo was, remember?
Who's the werewolf?
Oh, it was Boo?
Yeah, it was Boo. Yeah. The little rat became a big wolf.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
I think you left at that point. No, you didn't. Anyway.
For ourselves, decided we need to get this problem solved ASAP.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It wasn't a bit of plot given to us by the DM.
No.
The fact that there was a werewolf in the cave at all, was just like there was just a werewolf. There was no plan of, okay, so and so's gonna get lycanthropy, and then they're going to go here, and they're gonna solve it through doing this.
Fucking idea.
We just went, oh no, this is a problem. We need to solve this now.
Yeah.
However, we could have decided not to solve it. Like we could have just walked off, like due south.
Yeah, absolutely.
With no ramifications. That's just how do I put this? The plot was player constructed, not DM constructed, and then saying, okay, how do you want to solve this?
Hello. Yes.
Hello, Boo.
Welcome.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's I like playing devil's advocate. There are people out there who like to play through a predetermined story.
Sure. That's what modules are for. Absolutely.
Oh, I don't even mean just a module.
In my campaign.
No, but I'm saying in my current Pathfinder game that I'm a player in, it is very clear that our DM, his other group that he plays with is clearly of that ilk. You know, the DM has a story. Let's go play through his story. He's crafted it. He's written let's see what he wrote kind of experience.
Sure.
However, playing with me, my girlfriend Mora, and then our 2 other players, all 4 of us are very player-driven players, like character-driven players. And so constantly he's like, wow, I didn't expect you guys to do that or go that way. I have nothing prepared. And we're like, sorry. And so, yeah, it is true that there are people out there who do enjoy those pre-written, like predetermined directions, and like that's fine. But if you're going to advertise a design system like this, make sure you preface it by saying this is for the people who don't mind a bit of railroading.
Well, this is the thing. Like we talked about before, and I was gonna say before even Boo got in here, I was gonna advocate, like Boo advocates for. There's some instances that, and we all do. There's some instances where railroading is fine.
Yes,
it is a tool that you use sparingly, usually.
Yeah. Because there might be something, especially if it's a story-driven RPG. I like the example that I always give is when we were playing Call of Cthulhu.
Yes.
And in the very beginning of the thing, I said flat out, so there's going to be a small railroad. It won't be very long. And once you get to where you're going, then you're free. It just has to happen this way for it to make sense.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, this is the other thing I would say is, like, there can be instances even in the middle where a little thing could happen because you've triggered it, right? Like, it could be very player-driven, and then you get to a certain point that is just, this is how it will work. There's nothing that can really change it. I mean, you could probably change it, inside of the instance of this case, but it will work because it will work this way. But if it gets changed, then I feel like you should be able to, go off the rails with it if you want to.
Exactly.
But
I think the best way to railroad, especially mid-campaign, is in a way that your players don't realize you're railroading.
Yes,
you can.
Sure.
It sounds shady as fuck, but psychological manipulation is incredibly useful for a DM.
Oh no!
So an example of this that I did 2 weeks ago is my players had just like run their leads, and they were spending like an hour and a half at a crime scene where there was no more information for them to find.
Yep.
And so they had no thoughts to go and talk to this certain group of NPCs. Like that was quote unquote where they were supposed to go next. But they had not talked about these NPCs. I knew they had no plans to go there.
Sure.
So one of them was standing guard, and a haggard-looking person runs up to them and is like, yo, my boss needs to talk to you. Can you spare the time to come visit us? And the group, they talked. They're like, do we trust this random guy?
Sure.
Do we let him lead us? And, they went along with them and progressed the story. And I mentioned this example in a video last week, and my player DM'd me the same day being like, wait, that NPC wasn't supposed to be there? And I'm like, nope.
Sure,
so the players didn't realize it was a railroad because they chose to be along for the ride.
Yeah. That is another one. Yeah, absolutely. I'd
say that's valid.
I actually have an example that I used for my vampire campaign. Part of the intro thing that we've done, which was supposed to be a one-shot that is now turned into like 4 sessions of this one thing before we can actually get to more open world stuff, because I'm actually doing like an actual campaign of it after we enjoyed it. But like I'm trying to get them to get to a part so that they can find information, right? And I wanted them to be able to get to a library so that they could look up records of murders, right? That are very similar to what's been happening with the serial killing that's been going on. One of the good parts about vampire is that a certain race of vampires, clan, excuse me, the Malkavians, they have access to, if you get auspex up enough, they have access to premonition, which is a power that you can use to get a premonition if you want to. Or it gives me the sneaky ability to go, hey, you have a premonition right now, right? So it's either activatable or passive. And so in an instance where they were like, we're going through our options, we had to figure out what's going on, I was like, okay, I'm going to drop them the hint, right? I'm going to go, hey, Malkavian, you get a premonition. But Well, actually, no, that's not what happened. Sorry, I was going to do that, but the Malkavian was like, I want to use premonition because maybe the spirits will tell me something, and I was like, cool, okay, and so they used the premonition to get. I had a bunch of books, and it was to like see books falling and like to try to like get them to think books, books are the answer, books are the key, right? And thankfully it got them to think, okay, well, maybe we should go to the library at some point. And I was like, cool, okay, it's in their brains now. They'll go to the library at some point. They'll get there. And then at the point of the library, they were looking around a bunch of books. And they were trying to figure out, like, okay, is it like a specific section or something? And I was like, okay, how do I get them to think of newspaper clippings that are being saved for records and such, And so I used the premonition thing again. That time, like, not being prompted, just to go, you get a premonition of feelings, of emotions, of these kinds of things that are, when you look at this record viewer or newspaper viewer thing, right?
You think of triggering. Getting triggered.
Right, no, but I did that so that they would get that hint, because thankfully Vampire has that tool that I can use, right? And so I was able to get them on that track, and now they're able to, look at the information and hopefully get what they need. If they don't, then I'll have to figure something else out. But
yeah,
but yeah. So in order to get them to get to that point, because they've gone off the rails quite a bit, and also that.
So there's rails.
Well, because it's a pre-made fucking intro story thing. Yes.
So you're railroading them.
Yes, I'm just railroading the fuck out of them. You're right. No, I actually have taken out a huge section out of that thing because it sucks. It is made for. Sorry, it sucks for what I'm doing. It's made for pre-made characters. And it is heavily made for that, right? You can tell because, and the section that I took out is a flashback sequence. And I'm like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. These people have their own stories and characters. There's no fucking way I'm using that. If I had done that, then that would be railroading, right? Like,
you
aggressively.
Done it for the Malkavian. Premonition.
So that's why I use premonition to do stuff other than that, because the thing is, the flashback is
I was just fucking around.
No, I know. The flashback is directly like connected to the story and tells you exactly what happened, basically. And I'm like, fuck that. No, that's dumb.
Yeah, no, that is dumb. Jeez.
I don't like it. So I don't know. Anyway, Slay says, this sounds so against the spirit of TTRPGs, where you have video games and some board games if you want something like that. I would agree. Draco Kraken says, so I had this happen when I played in another's game. The thieves broke into a house, so I burned down the house, locking them inside. The DM had to take a 30-minute break to rewrite their plans. Be flexible. Yes.
There's nothing wrong with taking a break to rewrite.
No, absolutely.
Yes.
We've talked about that before, too. Yeah.
Yeah, that happened in my campaign where you guys were you went into the Underdark, and first thing you went near some stone giant area, and it's like there's all these carvings on the walls, and Alejo's like, oh, I speak giant. I'm like,
yeah.
The fuck you do? Damn it! Give me like 10 minutes. I gotta think of this.
Yeah.
Like, I did not see that coming.
Sure, yeah.
I remember. I'll never forget that I had set up the first half of a dungeon. So I'm like, they'll never get through the first half in one session. It's a big dungeon, and they said, let's go in the back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dude.
So they knew about the back way?
They didn't know about it, but it was a stronghold, and they
I see.
the athletic ones climbed up, and the magic users all turned
Yeah.
into like flies and crab and flew up and went in through the ramparts.
Nice. Yeah,
Assholes.
this also reminds me of literally in that Age of Magic Fair campaign where you guys, instead of going into the cavern there that the goblins were guarding, you knocked down the support beams and buried the thing alive, like entirely. And I was like,
To be fair, that was Mike's idea.
"That's fine." No, it was definitely, and you guys went along with it, right? And I was just like, "Okay, I guess this is what's happening."
We're all to blame for the door.
Yes.
Oh yeah, no, we're all to blame
yes,
for the
you're
door.
all to blame for that. It was great.
proud.
Anyway, so
That should be your lesson to
love-
just never have stuck doors ever again.
no, I will have stuck doors.
That I mentioned it as a joke, and then everyone's like, "Well,
Yeah.
yes."
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, we're going with this now. Okay. I feel like I'm immediately outvoted in this scenario where I'm like, guys, no, we shouldn't do this. And everyone goes, yeah,
sure.
no, we're doing this. And I'm like, oh no. And I'm like, silently feeling the shame of knowing that I'm the one who said it, even though like I'm the one who's saying that we shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyway, let us continue. Boo, you are in here now. Yes, good.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, he's
So
a
that
user
structure
instead
as
of
you want to
principal for some
maintain the
reason.
game.
Yep.
Yeah, it's weird.
and pull pieces out as much or as little as you want to.
Yeah.
And that extra structure will definitely help with newbies.
Yeah, it's great for keeping people on pace and on track.
that's the thing.
That's the climax.
There it is. He's
Yeah.
continually about being railroady. Woo! Okay.
Okay, so basically they're arguing for railroading.
So
Check off your bingo cards, everyone.
yeah, right. This
Yeah.
is
So what's
the
going on?
so he is telling us about the Jenga method, if you will, of how to write a story where you have everything written out and then you take pieces out for the players to interact in. Yeah.
Oh, that's really dumb.
Like to have decisions in, and so this is
Everything
Not
is
great.
predetermined except for those points.
yes, not good.
Oh, yeah, no, that's really dumb. Sorry, that's really dumb.
If you were invention or you were playing an Adventurers League game where you had to do things in a certain amount of time, it's great for getting people step by step by step.
Well, sure, and that's exactly how adventures for those types of environments are usually written, right?
Yes.
Somebody
That's
like
so that's the thing. Those are supposed to be that way.
Yes.
That's
the
the
whole
whole
point.
point. Yeah. Like,
Yeah, because if you go to a convention, you sit down at a gaming table, you're there to play the game. You're not there to fuck around.
Yes, and
There's a story to experience. You are there to experience the story.
and they need to get people through it. Like they need to get people through it so the next group gets through it, right? Like
Yeah.
that's the whole, and then the next group can then continue from where they left off and all that kind of stuff. That's a whole thing.
Yeah.
lays it out how long this is gonna take, what has to happen.
Yep.
And then they start thinking, all right, well, how much flexibility do I want to give the players? And I'll start pulling pieces out to let them sort of make decisions and so forth.
It's a great way to flesh out the story if you have an ending in mind as well. But the downside is that if you don't hit that first stop, or that first little Jenga hole that's missing, but you get to the second one, the whole thing can topple over.
Well, right. I mean, look.
Well, how would you do that though? I don't understand how you would even get that to happen.
Yeah.
What?
That's weird.
In your structure, if you are quite literally making them go from point A to point B, how are they suddenly fuck? How are they going from point A to point C without even touching B? I don't get that. We rise to the next town. Okay, you wake up in the previous town. You're riding the rails now, fam. That's true.
You get the fuck back on there. I'll be right back in just a second. I just need to grab a thing of glue.
Yeah. Go for it.
If you're going to have a set story arc that's written, and you pull out pieces, you kind of have to do them in order.
Yeah.
In order for that story arc to still function the same way, so it can have a feeling of less options or less flexibility for players.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh,
some
it
of
can
the
feel
more
that way, huh?
So one of the things that feels so iffy for me is that if you're going to pull out elements out of a story, just like, okay, these are the people that want to kill the king. They want to kill him for this reason.
Sure.
They can be stopped here by doing this.
I already hate the sound of that.
Like when you pull out elements out of a story, based on how even just point A, like say you have point A through G of like little interactable points for your players. If they change point like B rapidly out of like the skeleton of what this story was supposed to be, like your entire story can change.
Absolutely.
And you've done all that prep of removing elements out of the story when like it's all for naught now.
If you really want to make a story that is going to go point A to point B, or at least you want point B to be the result, then I feel like you need to think, okay, it's going to get to point B.
Yes.
Whatever happens in the middle there, that's gonna somehow get to point B. I have to make sure that it makes sense that it gets to point B. Right?
Yes.
We don't need to go, it will be point B regardless. Right? We go, it will get there. Maybe instead of going from A to B, we go A to 2 to 3 to 4 to B. Right? You know?
Yeah.
Let's just, you know, have a little bit of flexibility, as said.
And players are going to find that they have less player agency in this. Their interactions with the world.
Okay, so at least they do admit it.
Yeah, but on the upside, it's much easier to maintain pace and momentum with a setup like this, and you can help players who are, you know, suffer from well, your phrase, analysis paralysis, right?
Yep.
Like they get stuck on a decision and they don't know what to do. Well, your story arc can kind of carry them over a bump like that and keep the story moving.
No, I think that's still gonna happen regardless.
Yeah, that can absolutely still happen.
I like you'll give them fewer, but fewer is still gonna be more than
It's
one,
still enough,
right?
It also won't help them learn how to make their own decisions.
Yes, that's also true.
Because even if your story is point A, you arrive at the castle, and point B, you're inside the castle, or you've killed somebody inside the castle, you still have all the choices that come with how do you get in the castle? Do you go through stealthily? Do you go through loud? If we go through stealthily,
with this thing, I assume it's you will go in loud or you will go in stealthily, right?
That's true.
And at that point, it becomes how are you going to go in loud? How are you going to go in stealthily, right?
I don't know why, but I heard you say they're going to go into the castle and kill someone inside it. And my mind immediately went to Resident Evil 8.
I was thinking Payday 2.
Oh yeah, we said loud and stealthy, so yeah.
Yeah. So I have a second problem with this video.
Sure.
When was it made?
This was made literally this year in January, the end of January.
Okay. So my biggest problem is that they're not observing social distancing. They also don't have masks. So fuck both of you now. I don't care.
Yeah, they're fine.
Yeah, no, I don't give a shit.
A different type of environment, everything might come to a screeching halt, and it's harder to get people sort of restarted.
Exactly, and actually, the other way that you
Did it lag?
Write these stories, which
for me it lagged.
You know, is probably better for the more advanced player, is what we like to call the Lego method.
Oh. Okay, wait.
Hi.
So before we get to the Lego method, why don't we
just aged 15 years?
Well, why haven't we discussed on how you're going to maybe have options to get them back on track, I guess? Like if you have these problems that you're going to maybe face, maybe, you know, give us some solutions that you've come up with that, you know, might keep you on track. I don't know, but like I would also say like having that admittance of this can be, you could just go off the rails and your entire thing is fucked. It's like, doesn't sound, I don't know, maybe we don't do that. Maybe we don't use this so that we don't get in that situation in the first place. I mean, to be fair, in any TTRPG, everything can go fucked regardless, just because players are players.
Yes.
But, you know.
Yeah.
Can?
Yeah, will. At some point, it will all go sideways.
Yes.
Okay, so the Lego method, right?
Your Lego get tackled.
If your favorite method is the Jenga method, my favorite method is the Lego method. So the Lego method, right? If your
This video is
favorite
bugging
method
the
is
hell
the
out
Jenga
for me.
method, my favorite method
Oh, it
is
must
the
be
Lego
on your
method.
end.
And
It is on my end. It keeps lagging. I can't.
Oh, yeah, you got kicked out and then got in. That was weird.
Yeah,
I've left twice.
it really
Oh,
from the
set the
exact
Lego
opposite
method
direction,
3 times for me.
where
Oh.
I like to start with
Yeah, like I'm at 458 and it's just the loading
Oh.
circle. I can't.
Okay.
I'm
now
at
506.
Okay, yeah, it is at
Yeah.
506 right now. I guess.
Is it paused right now? Or
Yeah,
play?
it is. Yeah, it is.
Paused.
I dragged it back to 456. Tell me if it keeps doing it.
favorite method
Well,
is the
right
Lego
now it still
method.
says it's at
And
506.
it really approaches it from
Okay, that's even worse then.
Yeah.
Maybe
So now it's
restart.
at 459.
Yeah, maybe.
So I've already reloaded the page twice.
No, I mean like close out of it and then get back
okay.
into it. See if that helps.
Yeah,
And see if there's any processes you got going on that might be.
Yeah, all I have
Fucking
right
with
now is the Firefox window for the chat
Yeah.
and Discord.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Yeah, that's all I got.
It might just be your internet's being shitty right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, join me, brother.
Yeah, right. I get it sometimes too. So is it paused right now?
Yes, it is paused
Yes.
at 459 at the moment.
Okay, so hit play.
the exact opposite direction, where
Okay, so it's still
I
loading
like
for me.
to
Okay.
Oh boy. Wow.
I
with
play it. Yeah, it's still
The
it's still
role-playing,
paused even when I play it.
Okay. Well, that's unfortunate.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, not
Let's
much I can do from here.
Yeah, not much I can do either.
Okay, well, I guess go off of what we say.
Or,
Yeah.
or load it up on your phone.
That might work.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to just exit out of some stuff.
Yeah.
opposite
So
direction,
you just keep going.
Yeah.
I'll just be
where
quiet.
I like to start with the role-playing scenes and encounters as individual pieces in this construction,
Okay.
and then I build bridges between those scenes to sort of create the narrative arc.
Okay.
The reason that I like to approach it this way, and again, it's not all one or the other, right? We've both used the opposite methods at times, but this is my favorite because it emphasizes role playing. It emphasizes
Whoa.
those.
Just got a donation. Sorry. Yes, Drago Kraken donated $10. You mad
let's
lad.
go.
Oh my god. I didn't expect it, so I didn't even log in to see fucking these things. It'll only take me 2 clicks. Don't you worry about 4 clicks.
You'll get there.
I'll get there. There we go. Okay, it's up. So, it says, because I forgot, here's to the second shot and birthday for me that literally happened on the same day last week. Oh, hey, happy birthday! And also,
Hey.
yay, good you're vaccinated.
Yeah. Have
Yeah.
fun with the side effects for the day.
I hope you don't get any, dude.
Probably will.
I know of some people who didn't get any, and like fucking,
That's
I'm
good.
so jealous, right?
I know.
I know some people who got absolutely fucked by like
Yeah.
a fever for like
Yep.
3 days.
Yeah, I was down for a day with my fever. It sucked, but
Yeah.
My first one was really painless. Like I had like light bruise is how it felt. That's it.
yeah,
So-
first one is either
For the side effects?
Yep. All I had was a sore arm for like a day.
Nice.
yeah.
That's good.
First one was like my arm was really annoyingly like sore, and then it got really bad as the day progressed. But the next day I was fine.
Yeah.
Interesting. I was a little
Mine-
sleepy, but not like
Yeah,
sick.
Mine was a mild fever and just a ton of fucking exhaustion. Then, for one day, and then this time it was really, really fucking sleepy and could not sleep. So that was awful.
Oh yeah, I know that feel. That sucks.
Yeah.
Then your players light them bridges on fire. That's true. Your side effects sucked.
Yeah.
4 days super headache. Ooh, ouch. I'm sorry, dude. That sucks.
Yeah, I also had a headache.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, so the Lego method, allowing all the players to build the story as it moves, and the DM bridges the gaps between the story nodes the players create. Yay!
I find no problem with this.
Yup.
Hopefully this point goes quicker.
Yup.
Now, my only issue with this description is this is just a homebrew campaign, is it
Yeah,
not?
this is just a regular ass campaign.
Isn't that just how you run a campaign?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, that's. I also don't get quite why the term story nodes is like
Yeah.
I assume it's just to signify plot points, exactly. It is instead of saying plot point, you're saying story node. It's the same thing.
Sounds like his is a map where each node is a combat or social encounter.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I don't understand what's so special about this.
There's nothing.
I thought most every DM did this.
I think there's this. It's interesting that these are apparently the 2 tricks to writing your RPG campaign. The first one, I'm like, you make a really, really railroady module, okay? This one is
you run a regular ass campaign.
You just run a game.
Yeah.
Dragon Kraken says, had a fever by the end of the day and was so angry at my body for the false immune response, the system response. Well, that's how it be. It has to do it so that you can be okay.
Yeah.
It
hey,
sucks.
that'll be the last time, hopefully, with COVID.
Yes, hopefully.
Until it mutates and we gotta do all this shit all over again.
Yeah, but at least we'll have a benchmark so it doesn't take for fucking ever to get the... Anyway.
Yeah.
Determined encounters, which makes them a higher priority in the game. It gives the players a feeling of more agency, more power, more ability for their choices to predetermine how the story goes.
Yeah.
It also, because each of those encounters, while interconnected, are also kind of individual pieces, oftentimes they can be done in different order without interrupting the flow of the story. So I think that's important because, again, it gives the players the choice to decide what they want to do in the order that they want to do it. It empowers players.
Yeah.
And that oftentimes, especially with more experienced players, means a higher level of engagement and entertainment. It's a more fulfilling gaming experience for.
Well, so my question is, why even have the other method?
For people who want a more structured, quote-unquote, game where they can be reactive rather than proactive.
Okay, I guess.
Yeah,
okay.
That is not it is the complete opposite of what our group of 4 here are all about.
Sure.
But it's not to say that there aren't people who enjoy it.
No, and absolutely, that's fine. It's one of those things where I feel like you can just, instead of doing one method or the other, you just combine them, I guess, in that case, right? I feel like having a good, combination makes it so that everybody's okay.
It depends on your table. Remember, a lot of people are not as outgoing as the 4 of us.
That's true, and I understand that, but even so, in a table with people that aren't as outgoing, I feel like you can kind of, I don't know, get them into more of that mindset a little bit just by...
What if they don't want to be in that mindset?
So if they don't want to be in that mindset, that's fine. Absolutely. In that case, then, why are you playing D&D, I guess?
Because they still want to. They still get to play the game, roll the dice, play the character. They just don't... They want to react. They don't want to decide where to go. They're fine being led.
And again, I am fine with that, and this is coming directly from somebody who is not that way. So I understand that I'm more just asking the question, I guess, as just to get these answers for me. Instead of playing D&D, and I know this is always the weird, annoying thing to say, but like, why not just play a video game in that case?
Because you can't play a video game at the table with 6 of your friends.
Yes, you can.
What game can you play in person, playing whatever character you want,
MMO.
telling whatever story the GM wants, in the same room, at the same table?
So whatever story the GM wants is just whatever story the person who made the game wants.
Yeah, but the GM can tailor the story to you.
That's, yes. I understand that. Okay. Survival game?
It's still a predetermined map. It's still, the game is still
So
the same.
the
every time you
GM
play it.
predetermined it.
Yes, but your friend predetermined it to your specifications. They know what you are going to like. Imagine if a friend made a game that only your group could play, that tells a story only your group will be able to tell, and you are the only ones who got to experience it.
That's impossible.
But then if that's what you
exactly
want,
what D&D is.
If you want that story though, and you want that kind of narrative sense, then why are you not acting in it? Why are you just being a passive, effectively, observer in it?
Because they still just want to play a character. They don't mind the GM being the storyteller.
So then why not just watch the GM act it out?
Because they still want to roll their character. They still want to play and use their abilities.
Yeah, still want to be involved.
Exactly.
Okay.
So basically, they want to play. Effectively, they want to play like Legend of Zelda.
I think the video game comparison is not accurate at
Oh
all.
no! I'm not saying in terms of the video game. They want to be that hero who doesn't really have to say much, but the story is still built around them. You know what I mean? It's that kind of silent protagonist. That's what I mean when I say playing Legend of Zelda.
Yes, they don't mind, like Link, the story just sweeping you in a clearly obvious direction. They don't mind that.
Okay.
Yeah, like someone who wants to be the hero but doesn't want to make the difficult decisions that entails.
Or doesn't feel comfortable making those decisions, you know? They're
Okay,
fine
so then
with
Skyrim then.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah,
All right. Okay.
They're fine with talking to the princess, and the DM says, the princess points to the big smoking volcano and says, the Triforce of Courage should probably be in there.
Sure.
Actually, it was the Goron Ruby. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Legit fun fact about the Death Mountain. Did you know that in the manga of Ocarina of Time, Volvagia was Link's pet as a kid?
Yep,
Sure.
I did know that.
Cool.
Really fucked up.
Yep.
Okay.
And then Ganon made him an asshole.
Yep, and then Link had to kill his own pet.
Yep.
Fucked up.
Okay.
What did you say?
So when Link was a kid in Ocarina of Time, someone in Hyrule Castletown was selling a baby dragon, and Link adopted him to get him out of the cage. And then when he went to the future, Ganon corrupted the baby dragon into a giant monster dragon, and Link had to kill him.
Yeah, what was the name and how do you spell it?
Volvagia, Volvagia.
Is the boss of Death Mountain in Ocarina of Time.
Yeah,
I interpreted differently.
I know. Everyone does.
Oh, Dragon Kraken says, was painting Admech and hands wouldn't stop shaking from the headache. That's unfortunate. That sucks. Divinity 2 had a DM mode. That is true.
It was a little clunky, but yeah.
There are a lot of board games that mimic campaign RPG stuff now, says Slay. Yeah,
True.
that's true. That's true as well.
Gloomhaven.
Yep. Yeah.
Brogan, I am DMing you what I thought you said.
Yeah, figured. Yeah. Female anatomy is beautiful, Aiden.
Yeah, I was like, I like heard you say it, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Somebody who's the
Link
task.
had a pet. What?
But I mean, the flip side of that is it asks more of the
I'm
players.
not gonna make the joke.
Yeah, and one of the things about the Jenga method is we kind of touched on it, and that's good for one-shots, but this is definitely not a one-shot kind of campaign.
Yeah, I would say that it tends to favor longer story arcs, or at least more multifaceted story arcs. And it also favors more of an open sandbox gaming world where you can just go and approach different elements in a campaign or different encounters or different sort of chapters in an overarching story, it can be done as a one-shot, but it's not the preferred method, I guess is how I would say it. But
That's fair.
because it gives the players so much power to determine their own fate in a story, it also asks a lot more of them.
Yes.
And they are now much more in charge of maintaining the momentum and the pace of the game because they have so many choices. They have to make some.
Yeah.
And so if they don't, if they get stuck on a choice or they don't know what to do or there's too many choices to choose from and they don't know which direction to go in, that in turn asks more of the GM, right? Because the GM has got to be able to restart that flow.
I feel like that's just a thing for any kind of system of which you want to run a game. It doesn't just pertain to this. It also pertains to, like we said, in the railroady system of Jenga. If you have those moments of player interaction, I guess, even before that, there could still be moments of them being overwhelmed by choices and such. I don't know.
It could be as simple as, instead of it being how do we break into the castle, it could be as simple as, do we want to go buy fruit from that stand, or do we want to check out the inn? It can be as simple and mundane as that.
Right, but I guess the answer to that, is with the Jenga method, you don't get to do that in those sections.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think a great solution, aside from the Jenga method, and a lot of people do frown upon this, is the GMPC. Now, not using them even necessarily as a full party member, but an NPC with the party that if they find that choice paralysis, the players can go, hey, NPC, what do you think? And similar to the premonition thing you talked about with the vampires, it's a great way for the players to be like, hey, GM, what should we do without breaking that fourth wall?
Well, exactly. Even in that case, I would argue that the DMPC that you're using has its own mind. So
absolutely.
So you're not asking the GM, you're asking that, you're asking that character.
Yes.
But yeah, people frown upon it because they don't understand how to use it.
Yes.
We talked about that extensively in one of the episodes.
All the stories of GMs basically making a full player.
Yeah. Good evening, all. I hope everyone has gas in their cars. Apparently, there's a problem for some folks at the moment, says Steely. That is true. I did hear about that.
Yep. It's down here.
Yeah. Apparently, there's a gas shortage going on.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh. Sucks to suck.
It sucks to have not gotten gas like the night before it happened.
Right.
Oh no.
Huh?
What?
Oh no, your story of it sucks to have not gotten gas the night before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I got it, so I'm good.
Oh, you did get it. Okay.
Yeah. No, I got it the night before. I'm good.
I thought
Imagine
you did gas, and I was like, oh no.
Imagine the guy who drove by being like, I'll fill up tomorrow.
Right. Yeah, that would suck immensely.
And it's funny because I got it when I still had like 130 miles in me, and I'm like, sure, why not? I'll go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
The poor person who's like hovering above E and is like, I'll get it tomorrow on my way to town or something.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and yes, Steely, it is Jenga like the blocks. Yeah, that was the first method. That's dumb.
I don't understand what's special about the Lego method. I thought everyone...
there's nothing special here, I don't think.
It's just also a game of blocks.
I think that, I was going to say, this is just reflavored methods that everybody already knows.
Yeah.
Seamlessly, as soon as
the video's loading for me.
And because the players have so much more choice in the matter, they're going to throw the GM more curveballs. Yeah, like you're going to have to be able to ad-lib. You're not going to be able to rely on as many pre-written set pieces, box text descriptions, things like that. And because the players are likely to approach these things in a different order than you anticipate, you may not want to rely on settings as much for encounters. Like, you don't geolocate, you don't set it in a specific place, right? you want to build your encounters around people, not places, because
sense.
people are mobile, places are not.
You can still. You can.
Places are very mobile.
Yeah, exactly. Places can be very mobile. Absolutely.
Because the thing is, I have a custom world called, or a custom continent, I should say, called Falror, and there's places of all different. There's plains, deserts, a place called the Geyser Lands, like Arctic tundra, mountains, Underdark, and jungles, and forests, and caves, and all kinds of good shit. And every single area would have encounters that are specific to that area. You're not going to find like fire salamanders out in the plains, you know what I mean? So you can absolutely still have encounters that are tailored for specific areas.
Yeah.
It's just you don't want to lock in an important encounter behind something that they have to do.
Yeah,
they'll as long as they go out on the road right now, they'll meet the Duke and he'll tell the thing. That's what you can't do.
Yeah, I was gonna say you don't want to make it so specific that it has to be this way entirely, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So the example I sometimes use is the bandits' hideout is below the mayor's office. Well, they missed the clues saying it's there, but they've kind of created and picked up their own clues that say the bandits are probably outside of town in the farm. Well, because that's where they're going, I'm just going to put the bandit camp under the farm now.
Yes.
It doesn't change anything for my players. They don't know it was up beneath the mayor's office.
Yes.
And that location has been moved, and they are none the wiser.
Yeah,
so
you can have multiple sessions of them essentially wandering around scratching their heads, or you can just do the simple thing and like put it under the farm. It's just as valid.
Absolutely. I agree, but I'm less likely to do that personally. I don't know. I don't like moving that kind of stuff.
I'm more prone to say there's two taverns. There's the Foaming Flagon and the Honest Horker. And they're like, oh, we'll stay at the Honest Horker tonight. And you're like, but the next plot point's at the Foaming Flagon. Okay, the next plot point is now at the Honest Horker instead.
That's fine.
And when they go in there is just a guy at the bar who would have been at the bar at the Foaming Flagon, but now he's there and he's like, oh, hey, welcome to town.
Yeah. I'm evil.
That I would be fine to do because that's just a translocation of the same area, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Anyway.
So, and because of that, you're going to have to be able to, ad-lib. You're going to have to be able to make it up on the fly and be comfortable with that.
That's the
and that can be very rewarding and fun for a GM, but it's also work. So you've got to be up to it. Yeah. But if the players are willing to do their part and the GM is willing to do their part, I think it's a more sophisticated gaming experience. But if you have novice players, that's going to be diving in at the deep end of the pool.
Yep.
So that's something to keep in mind of if you're trying to choose which method to construct your story from. And like I said, we've both used the other at times. And sometimes you can do a hybrid where you make certain elements of the story written your way and certain other elements written this way.
What?
And
I can hear you over the wind. It's pretty gusty out here.
So there you have it. Those are the two methods that we prefer for writing homebrew adventures. Be sure and let us know in the comments.
Well, yeah. The two methods that people know about are the two methods that they like.
Yeah, the two methods that pretty much everybody knows: railroading and playing normally.
I mean, they're all talking about your own idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if it is the same as what's already out there, just talking
about
it.
Fine. That's fine. But they've come up with different names for it that I'm like, I guess.
Sure.
And it's already the same thing.
It's the idea, do not steal.
Well,
I will defend it in that sometimes reflavoring and renaming something can help someone understand it better.
Sure, that's fine. It's weird. That's all. I'm not knocking it too much.
So, Boo, they know how to do background sounds like wind and stuff like that. Why do we have to hear the Gregistopheles stomp around all the time?
Because I don't actually have like a Fresnel lens to make my own lava. I would.
There you
I
go.
mean, I wouldn't, but
But you can donate at this link so that
Jesus
I can,
Christ.
so that I can. Ooh.
Stop.
Yeah, so that I can improve the D&D game for you guys.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'll fucking, if you donate, I will sell my soul to a demon to get him to fucking make weird demon noises in the background.
God damn.
I'll get
Well,
Tharnar.
I'll donate.
I'll get Tharnar. I'll do it.
Anyway,
Seems like a fun guy. He's
Um,
probably definitely not a traitor. Probably definitely
so
not. No.
so Draco Kraken said, the best GMPC, old man shifty, knower of many unusual and specific things, and giver of terrible advice.
Yeah, that's the other thing that you can do with the GMPC. If the players start to treat it like it's if they start to treat it like it's just the library of all knowledge, you just have them be wrong sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. He should be wrong sometimes. Well, he's not gonna know everything.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the danger of the GMPC is taking some sense of accomplishment from the players. And for players, how do you tell the GM you would like to go without their character they might be attached to? Well, you should just be able to say that to them.
Yeah.
That's just at that point.
Yeah.
One of my favorite jokes is it's sort of in relation to the old man who has very specific but vague knowledge.
Yeah.
It's like, so the comic is a guy talking about his son having very specific knowledge, and he's like, hey, who made Mount Rushmore? And the kid's like, oh, Lincoln Borglum made it. And then his father, Gutzon Borglum, helped. And he's like, wow, interesting. By the way, what state is Mount Rushmore? And he's like, how should I know? Manitoba or something?
Yeah.
Nice. And for the other part of this, the danger of the GMPC taking some of the accomplishments from the players. I mean, oh my god, another tip. Well, I'll finish my thought first. Fucking donations, you
Crossing
silly.
my fingers. Don't talk about my gaming. Don't talk about the
No,
witch battle.
so what I'm saying is, regardless of if it's a DMPC or some PC that they, or sorry, NPC that they hire, right? Like, that's gonna be a risk, I guess.
Because that's just the nature of dice.
Yeah, the only difference, of course, is that the GMPC is controlled by the DM specifically. But
Yeah.
regardless, every NPC is. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
It's just the naming convention and the fact that it was made specifically to be in the party, I guess, that it turns people away. But at the same time, I don't know. Sometimes some people are like, I ran Expedition to Castle Ravenloft in 3.5, and I asked my group. Aiden was there. God damn it! There's another donation. I asked my group, hey, do you want to have an NPC go along with you who is a cleric who will give you some of that healing stuff if you need it? And Yulon was born, yes. And they were like, yes. And I was like, okay. And then I made him the most passive, like, in terms of, like, people. But, like, he was active in terms of combat because I balanced the encounters so that it included him, right? Like, it's just, and that's the thing. And yes, he definitely took away some of the glory. By accident. I didn't intend for it to happen, but that's how the dice rolled, and everybody loved it. So,
Yeah.
Actually, like, most of the time, whenever I make a DMPC, I've actually modeled them after Yulon because I like that idea so much.
really?
Of like, yeah, of
Oh.
like, make a DMPC that's just like, I don't know, whatever majority votes, I guess I'll go for.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
Like-
pretty much Jared in our campaign.
You mean
Yeah.
here?
Doesn't
Oh, yeah.
just a character who doesn't want that responsibility and is kind of like socially awkward.
Yeah.
And just willing to go with whatever so long as everyone's happy.
And also stop saying I'm the best, please. I'm not. I promise.
You
I'm not.
are the best.
No.
And I won't bother to hear that you're not.
Well, unfortunately, you're going to keep hearing it because I'm not, and so on and so forth.
And don't worry, Alejo. I'll tell you, you're terrible.
No, I was playing Yulon, you fuck.
Oh, you're playing Yulon. Okay, you're still terrible.
Thank you. I know.
Just I'm less of a fan of making a DMPC and then making him have like all the answers, and it's like,
Yes.
hey, we should go to this farmhouse down the road. That's definitely not the next plot point.
Right, exactly.
I'm a bit less of a fan of that because that seems intellectually dishonest because it's railroady.
Yeah.
Just with extra steps.
Yeah. And I know, actually, Brogan, you were a part of this. Remember when I came to you when I was gonna run the game for the first time, and I was like, I want to run a scenario with you really quick.
You ran the bridge.
I ran the whole getting into the town and into the catacomb place. If you remember,
That was 1-on-1, wasn't it?
that was 1-on-1. Yeah, it was. And I was playing Yulon in that moment. And actually, you helped in my creation of Yulon, or my playing of a DMPC, because I remember I came up with something in my head, and then I did it in our little session there, and you even went, okay, I was okay with it, but you don't want to do that with players. Like, you want them to come up with the decisions. You don't want to have the PC, like your NPC, come up with that stuff. And I was like, yeah, if you, and I kind of knew that to begin with, but at the same time, fucking hell, at the same time, it helped me reaffirm it because you told me that, like, in that moment, and it was just like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, on that note, verbal communication between players and GMs is so damn important.
Oh, absolutely.
Even if you're going to be, like, taken in a negative light, it's often still worth saying rather than staying silent and like dealing with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Recently, I gave my Pathfinder GM, some pretty tough love. It's specifically Game Master.
Yeah, I know, it's the same thing.
Recently he put a trap in a dungeon that had no feasible workaround. It was behind a magical curtain, so we could not hear or see it, and stepping through the curtain triggered the trap. And there was no way to, quote-unquote, know there was a trap there besides the curtain, and it was like a 5-foot hallway. You could only move through the curtain, no other way to go. So eventually we were like, okay, and triggered the trap, took the damage, and moved on.
Wow.
And I was like, hey, that's not great design. Yeah. I would prefer more interesting trapping. And, you know, he was a little bummed, but he's like, he thanked me for it. And he's like, yeah, I'll work on that more. And it ended up being an overall positive experience that we will see if it has an effect on future sessions.
Yeah, exactly. If it's for the betterment of the health of the campaign, then it's still for the best. I would also say that, like, DM and player communication can be important. Like, for example, Boo's thing of, like, the campaign's going to be a bit railroady for a second. Just trust me, guys. Go along with it. It'll broaden out from there. When things first start off, just go with it.
Yes.
Yeah. And like that's sort of an exercise in player DM trust. Like, you as a player choose to go, okay, I trust you, Mr. DM man, to have something cool down the road. I will play along for now.
For now.
With the ominous noises in the background. For now.
And then there's also the time.
The strings in the musical accompaniment just
And then, of course, there's also the time when I fucking pulled Alejo into conspiracy, and all I said was, "Hey, Alejo, trust me."
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And I fucking yeeted you into the wall for 70 non-lethal damage.
That's right.
what we should have done, or what we should do in your campaign is just you go, hey, so and so, mind joining me in conspiracy real quick? And it's like, the DM's calling conspiracy. Sure. And then like you just sit there with them and be like, hey, we're just gonna take 5 real quick, but we're gonna act like we just discussed something really important.
Oh
Yes.
no. No.
I'll save that for Call of Cthulhu.
I have to edit around that and I wouldn't know.
Yeah, right. That's the problem.
Fuck.
I won't do that for Call of Cthulhu. Don't worry.
No, you're fine.
Doing that kind of stuff is actually super fun. I think I told Alejo about this, but
Yeah.
no, I told Boo about this.
Yeah, you only told me about it.
I am psychologically messing with my players out of game with my Cthulhu game. At the end of every session, I'm putting a seemingly random number in the group chat.
Yeah.
Now, wait. Do you want to...
I don't think I want to explain it just in case people in the chat or whatever end up playing
Sure.
this thing. But
Well, no, I wanted to ask, are there any of you, do any of your players watch us?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Probably not.
Because we have like 2 viewers.
Yeah, we have like 3 people that watch us. It's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so at the end of the first session, I put the number in, and they went question mark, and I went question mark, and
Nice.
everyone was like, "What?" And I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
And then I
Yeah,
did it
what?
again at the end of the second session with a different number, and they're like, "I don't know what this is, but I don't like it," and everyone agreed.
Good.
So they're super freaked out.
Good.
I love it.
Very good.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it a lot.
I have a dare for you, Brogan.
Okay.
Next time, instead of like doing a number, say someone's name in the group chat.
Just
Just
the
be
number,
like,
like the character or the person?
no, the person, just for your own reference. Just write down like, just putting this here for my own reference, Chris.
I like
And
that.
then like someone in your chat named Chris is going, guys, what the fuck?
Interesting. No, I like that. I like that a lot. Anyway,
I do that somewhat in game with whenever like a big decision is made.
yeah,
I'll just roll like D100s
sure.
Yeah.
because it's 2 dice. It sounds loud enough
Yeah.
that it's noticeable by everyone at the table. But because it's like D100s, it makes sense that you would roll that instead of like a D6 and D4, for instance. So like someone's like, "What'd you roll?" A percentile dice. Why? Oh, don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't
Just-
worry about it.
And then you just
Yeah,
look
no,
at
just-
it.
And-
let's continue.
And then just stare at them deadpan.
I was thinking you just look at the dice again and go, "Oh,
My
Look
favorite
at
thing.
someone and go, "You have a backup character, right?" Good.
I don't even like telling them, like even pretending it's bad. I'll love being like, Alejo, make me a will save.
Yeah.
19. Okay. Aiden,
Okay.
your turn.
yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely." Well, yeah, that's the whole thing. It's like, interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean? Especially when they roll right in that like could have succeeded, could have failed margin.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I've done
That's
that.
true.
When they roll a 14 on the will save, and you're just like,
Okay.
Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. That sounds good.
"Was DC 15?"
So a couple of things here. Just blow into the mic, instant wind. First off. Second off.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, don't do that, please. My ears.
I
We have some donations. So, Draco Kraken gave us $5 and said, "I heard donate." Appreciate that. In chat, he even said, "Did someone say donate?"
I also like donuts, yes.
Steely donated $2 and said, "Don't sell your soul. I wouldn't know how to confess that. Just buy a soda with this or something."
Okay.
How dare you recommend something simple and doable?
And then Draco Kraken again donated $3 and said, "Tip war." Just kidding, I'm done. Okay. Appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Only donate if you can.
Yes, please. Only donate if you can. Oh my god.
I hear quote, someone said donate, and then I'm unquote, and then I'm like, no, please.
Yes, only if you want to, only if you can. Oh my god.
We don't need it.
Also, Slay says, if I use a GMPC, I always roll an intelligence check and tailor the answer based on a response chart. That's a way to do it, sure.
Yeah.
And then Steely says, roll the percentile and then flip feverishly through the book as if you're looking up a second random table. Yes, also a good one. Also a good one. So, that being said, we are at the midpoint. So it is time to talk about our lovely, lovely patrons. Wowie!
I'm gonna go pee while you do that.
Okay. Do that. So.
And I'm gonna go get some corkboard. I'll be right back.
Okay.
And I'm gonna be right here.
I figured. So. Thank you to all of our patrons. You can find us.
I'm back.
Oh my god. You can find us at patreon.com/tabletalkdnd. If you want to join, please only join if you can. And if you want to, don't feel like you're obligated to. This is our patron list. We have Draco Kusagi up at the top with that big spender, biggest shout, tier 3. Thank you so much. He's Draco Kraken in the chat. Appreciate it. Then there is Mog0, also at that tier 3. Now, see, I'm gonna do something really quick here. Actually, I've just noticed something. Let me change this because I don't know why that. I guess that just changed because they changed it. Okay. Well. So, apologies. The list has changed in the sense of name. A name has changed on it. Somebody has changed their own name. In which case, my brain goes, new name, what? Who?
Dis?
Who? Why?
New phone, who dis?
Yes, new phone, who? What? And so, don't mind me as I, refresh my brain. Because without your username, my brain goes, who? So apologies. It goes, ho. Yes.
Yes, I said it right.
I don't doubt it.
Sure. Aw. Nobody cares that I can talk like Dio.
Nope. Oh, okay. It was Slay. Okay, thank you. Slay's I wanted to make sure that I wasn't like giving out information that you didn't want given out. So let me refresh this so that it's not like that anymore. I immediately, my brain was like, uh-oh, I've done something wrong. So apologies. In the video, at least, I will fix this. So don't worry. I'll blur it out. Anyway. So, after Mog0, at that tier 3, we have Slazer, also at tier 3. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I realize that you're Slazer on here and then Slazex over there. Nice. Anyway. So, Steely as well, tier 3. All of you at tier 3 are flipping them golden tables. Appreciate it. Steely being the longest member of our Patreon, getting up through the ranks, in fact, flipping tables along the way, and getting to where he is today.
Nice rhyme.
Thank you. It came on the spot, and also, then we have Drake Cross with that bigger shout at tier 2. So thank you very much. Really appreciate it. And then Chris at tier 1, a shout out. Thanks. And Frozen Spaghetti as well. We haven't seen Frozen Spaghetti in a long time. I miss Frozen Spaghetti. And Kill Chrono as well at tier 1. It came in my brain. I forgot. And then I remembered. Anyway, so thank you again for all of your patronage. If you want to join, make sure to first be financially able to. Please do not donate to us unless you are financially able and want to. Do not feel like it's an obligation. Table Talk D&D on Patreon. Secondly, Again,
this is something that we do for fun.
yes.
Like, you don't need to give us money.
Yes. Secondly, we have but I will say, if you want to help grow the podcast further, with the money that you give, it will go towards new art, like better equipment, all that kind of stuff. So if you do want to do that, that is a way to do it. If you want to do that, but you don't have to. Anyway, so we also have the merch on TeePublic. You can get the logo on a shirt. You can get it on a wall art. You can get it on a tank top. You can get it on a mask. You can get it on a mug. You know, all that kind of stuff. Search up TableTalk up on TeePublic. Anyway, I believe that's all of that. There's also the donations that people have done. You can put !donate in the chat, and the bot should get you there. Again, don't do it unless you can.
Only one way to experiment, boyos.
God damn it. Okay. So, I missed a couple of things here. Yeah, you changed. If I don't donate, I'll just end up blowing it on Talern Guardsman on eBay. Oh, Talern. Gotcha. Okay.
Happy to help you be responsible.
I guess. Thanks, Steeler. Appreciate it. Flipping so many tables, I have to wear wrist braces. Hey. And then Dracocrat says, yeah, those tables give a lot of wrist strain. Yep. That's true. Donate, chick. Gotta go.
Gotta warm up, pop your shoulders, flip over a smaller table, do a few sets of that, and then you're all pumped.
That's true.
Yeah. Because gaming tables are fucking heavy duty, man.
They
You gotta roll dice on those things. And fucking put holes through them.
Yeah.
Gaming tables are actually really heavy.
Yeah, no, they actually are.
Yeah.
Like, I play D&D on one, they're fucking heavy.
Yep. See you, Dracokraken. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the second video of the night.
Is Brogan still here?
I am here.
Oh, okay, I didn't know if he came back.
I went to the kitchen to get a drink, and I realized I made a mug of hot chocolate, like 5 hours ago.
No.
Brogan.
Now it's just chocolate.
Yeah.
Brogan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I asked.
Oh!
I don't think I fucking asked where you went and what you were doing. No,
What?
He was making the joke.
I was being an ass.
He was being
Broken.
an asshole.
Oh, so same old.
Yeah.
Yes.
Brogan's still around because he's been promised to Witch It after the podcast is done.
That's
I'm
true.
so excited.
Yes.
Yeah, you're also down for Witch It?
Yeah, of
Me?
course.
Boo.
Yo, me? Hell yeah.
No, I'm just making sure.
Come
I'm
on.
just making sure.
Yeah.
You weren't saying anything.
I didn't have to do a big truck today. I'm good.
Okay, cool. All right, so we're moving on to a video by. While I bring up
Homebrew.
the stuff here.
After this, I'll have to show you my Carnifexes because they're all done.
Oh. So this is Homebrew Your Own Campaign by D&D Homebrew.
For a year old.
Yep. It's a year old.
We shall see if it lives up to my standards of homebrewing.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Well, yeah, we'll see. Because this channel seems to be dedicated to it, so I'm interested. Yeah.
Hello, my name is KR King. This is my YouTube channel
Hello.
dedicated to homebrewing a D&D campaign. I've been playing D&D since 1975. It's the greatest game ever invented.
Hell yeah.
Storytelling, role-playing, battles, action.
Pretty good.
Great storylines that evolve over time that the players can actually influence and create.
Yeah.
And the greatest way to play D&D in my mind is to homebrew a campaign. That gives the player characters the most opportunity to affect the course of play. And oftentimes people say, well, I'd love to homebrew, but I don't have the time. It's overwhelming. I've got to create this whole world. I've got to create everyone in it. It's too much for me. I'm not able to do it. I'm here to say you can do it.
Hey.
You can create a homebrewed campaign. I've done it the past 40 years. I've developed some techniques I have to start small, to think about characters and their desires, to think about storylines in terms of evolving from how the players, when they start at whatever level, move up. Because the thing is, we need more homebrewed campaigns. We need more characters. We need more storylines. We need you to create a homebrewed campaign.
So dichotomy of olive man.
Yes. Also, may I say that this guy, the thing that I'm getting from this guy, I am getting that Asian guy in the fucking water screaming at you, "You can fucking do it! You can chase your dreams!" Remember that? I'm getting that from this guy.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm getting that.
Yeah, no, he's being our hype man, and I appreciate him.
I'm getting a Japanese guy who shucks clams.
Yeah, that's it.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah. Never give up.
Never give up.
Ow. Intro song's a little abrasive.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's an old homeboy, dude.
So now we're going to start our...
I was going to say, not my genre, but that's just me.
Yeah.
Process of building a brewed campaign, one that I've done many times. I've played all the different editions of D&D. I'm going to be using the 5th edition rules when we start to get into the mechanics of encounters, monsters, and the NPCs. I'm doing that because I think that's the most popular form right now. It's the one I'm playing right now. But all this stuff is pretty much applicable to any system.
Yeah.
And what we're always going to be emphasizing is having fun. In other words, you're going to have fun while you're making your campaign, while you're creating your NPCs and your encounters and your special items. You want your players to have fun when they're playing the game, when they're interacting, when they're creating, helping you create some of the scenarios, how things unfold. Thing is, it's a game and you want to have fun, and sometimes you find yourself in a situation playing D&D where you're not having fun. Sometimes it's the players don't get along. Sometimes the players have a different idea what D&D is about. They're competing with the game master. Sometimes the game master is competing or he has something against. There's all sorts of variants. And I know there are players that you can't play with. They don't want to have fun. They want to do their own thing. Again, they're hostile to one another. I get that. You can't play with them. But if you have a group, a solid group that's really invested in playing, really invested in taking part in your world, and you're not having fun, then you got to look at yourself. You got to think, are these encounters fair? Are the puzzles too easy? Are the puzzles too hard? Does it seem boring to the players? Are you trying to control them too much? Are you're not giving them enough clues as to what to do next or what they might encounter or discover? So that's going to be a thing constantly through this process of making sure we're having fun. The way I think in terms of running a great campaign, a homebrewed campaign...
I guess that was the first point, in which case, yes.
Yeah.
Make sure your players have fun. I thought that was... Or that should have been obvious enough to not have to be mentioned, but...
Yeah, but it isn't, apparently.
Sometimes I wonder.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but,
It's weirdly enough, it does need to be repeated for some people.
I know, it's weird. Talon is stupid expensive. I will probably end up filling in my army with stand-ins from third-party company like Victoria. Okay, there you go. Well,
was that Eldar?
I guess
Talon.
Talarn? Yes.
Oh.
I think this is a different thing.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it was because I didn't know if it was Eldar.
It's the Desert Raiders.
Yeah, Harsh Desert.
Yeah. They're Militarum.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So, yay, good.
Oh, they look cool.
Yeah, they look badass.
Yo.
Is it like a Death World? I didn't never. That's a tangent.
It is not. It is not. I believe a death world. It is just a world where there's not a lot of native life.
Yeah.
Ah. Okay.
So I'm glad that we prevented you. Not really.
Dude,
I wish you had bought these instead.
I'm gonna use that money to buy them for myself.
Anyway.
You don't even play Bellatar.
Is to always emphasize characters and their desires and motivations over just plot. The desires and motivations of your characters in your world are going to drive the storylines.
I agree.
And when
with
I say
heavily.
characters, I mean NPCs, and I also mean any sentient humanoids or monsters. anywhere from an Umber Hulk to a
Video
Mind
is
Flayer.
fucking up for me
Obviously,
again.
an Umber Hulk's desires and motivations are going to
He's
perhaps
saying
be
good
more
things. Don't
limited
worry.
than
Yeah,
a
sure.
Mind Flayer's, but still, they live in the world. This is very important. And sometimes people forget that the characters in a story have a life before the action of the story begins. They have, they know things about each other. They know things about the world. And player characters.
I like this. So we talked about the sentiment of the players being the center of the story, and that's true, right? But that doesn't mean that the world didn't exist before them, right?
Yes.
It's important to at least think of some very, minor things that might be of this world because of its existence before and after the players, right?
Oh, yeah.
And like you said, every single anything is going to decide what happens in this world. So like
That. Go ahead.
No, go on, please.
I was gonna say that is what is so often overlooked, especially by newer GMs or GMs who just don't care as much about it. That random pack of goblins they're fighting at level 1 has been a pack of goblins for years. They probably won't just fight. Well, potentially, yeah. They probably won't just fight to the death. When
And
half of them drop, they'll probably run away or try some other tactic or something.
And that's why all the goblins are level 20.
but no, absolutely. It's one of those things where, and again, I understand when new DMs are like, hey, these goblins are gonna fight to the death, and I'm like, okay, sure. But after a while, you think about it, when you're actually thinking about the world, and you go, why would they not want to live though?
Exactly. Typically, if it can think, it probably wants to live.
Yes, exactly. Well, even if it can't think, usually.
Well, like
wants
a
to
mindless
live.
undead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wants that semblance of life.
No, I
That's
mean
why
like
you-
if they are
No,
mindless.
I know.
Yeah.
He knows.
That's why I'm a fan of like wild animals and stuff like that. Once they drop to like half HP or lower, like
They piece it.
I'll probably like buff their health just a little bit to make them more meaty and make it so that the players can abuse them. But once they drop to half of what like that 125% health, like once they drop to 62%,
Sure.
I'm gonna go like I roll a dice and see if they run.
Yeah, absolutely. The morale kind of system that we all kind of implement, right?
Yeah.
Once they get down to like a quarter, like I then roll a dice and like have a greater chance of them running.
Yeah, someone in the comment section of one of my videos recently mentioned the Total War morale system, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
exactly that.
Routing and stuff is definitely going to happen, and especially in an army. Like, it's you're
Even a platoon.
Well,
you know?
even like
Yeah.
regardless of the size of the amount of people, right? Like people are gonna get scared. People are gonna lose their morale to fight. They're gonna do worse. They're gonna try to get out of there, right? Like that's.
There's a reason why zombies, if you're the vampires, don't have a morale system.
Well, their morale system is just they decay, right? Like that's it.
Yeah.
They
And-
die.
Yeah, but they just keep fighting until they die because
That's why you want Slayers. They're unbreakable. They just go until they fucking die.
yeah,
Because they're just bad shit.
yeah.
And they don't
But,
give a shit.
If you're like Alejo controlling the boy in the woods
Yeah.
Yeah.
and marching him up to where the cannon is,
Yep.
and then he pops out of the woods and like
Hello, hug time.
he's like, "What up, boys?" And
Yeah,
then
it's
you
true.
just see the entire crew just get pasted.
Yes, and then their morale goes
Oh.
fucking down. Let me tell you.
Yeah, it does.
Their homeworld was virus bombed by the Iron Warriors, who ended up getting kicked off in an epic armor battle with millions of vehicles. Now it's a harsh desert planet. There you go.
Neat.
I literally just sent Boo that.
Oh my god.
The Iron Warriors Trader Legion, intending to destroy all potential resistance before landing, virus bombed the planet from space, rendering
Virus
it
bombs?
an inhospitable desert.
Nice.
Nice.
Kind of a dick move.
It is.
Hey,
The
Trader
chaos,
Legions.
they're all assholes.
Yeah. Anyway,
I should know. I play two different factions of Chaos and Age of Sigmar.
Hey, there you go. Anyway, so
characters have a certain knowledge about the world because they grew up here, but so do the non-player characters, so do the monsters. They know the area around them, they know what's been going on, the history, they have objectives in terms of that knowledge. When you do this, when you emphasize characters' desires and motivations, when you try to make them as real as possible, this will have your player characters become invested in the world because they will realize this is a real world. And when they realize that their actions are going to influence the behavior of these NPCs or monsters or whatever long term, not just going out and killing them, but if they encounter them and they run away or they escape or the monsters run away, again, the NPCs, whatever might happen in the world, it changes things. The moment your characters encounter an NPC, a monster, some situation, time starts with them. They begin to react to what happened in this encounter. And this is the organic process of D&D that makes it the greatest game. The players affect the world simply by behaving in that world. They are the agents of change. They are the agents in which other events, other NPCs begin to react to things. Before the players meet them, they tend to be stationary. You've set them up unless they hear about something that the player characters are doing. This is why the player characters are the center of action. This, again, is why it's so fun to play D&D, because you are seeing yourselves, if you're a player character, influencing the world and changing things. So we're really going to emphasize characters, their desires, their motivations when we're creating the world, when we're thinking about encounters, when we're thinking about each run. We're also going to be always balancing verisimilitude versus the suspension.
I'm going to say, boys, I think this is going to be one of those ones that we just go, yes. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because I want to add more, but he's saying, like, everything.
Like, he is us in, he's doing 70 years?
He's very well articulated.
Yeah, he seems to know what he's talking about, which is good.
Give me a sec. I'm going to be right back.
Okay. I will also actually
Thank God he didn't say BRB, I'll be right back.
I'll be right back as well. I really need to use the bathroom at the moment.
Yep.
So
entertain the folks,
everyone. Yes.
What?
You were alone with him for years. You're fine.
Yeah, it's true. Hello.
Hi.
So, it's back to the beginning of our relationship.
No, there was a third person at the beginning of our relationship.
Yeah, it's true. Mm-hmm. Whatever happened to them?
They're doing okay.
Yeah, I know. I'm just fucking around. Dude, are you ready to kick their asses and witch it?
Yes, I am very excited for new maps.
I can't wait. Fuck, dude.
I love that game so much.
It's so good. You know what I want to do? I want to try like the magical like witch forest level, but 3 hunters and 1 witch. I think that's how you got to do that.
Yeah, very possible.
Because it's so big that you need to only have like 1 witch.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, like, you'll never find the second one.
Yeah, it is interesting. There's definitely a interesting power dynamic on those maps because of the chicken. Specifically because of the chicken.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like 3 hunters, 1 witch would never work on like that first map we did where it's just like the city street and like 2 rooms.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, you just get found so fast. So yeah, it's such a fun game. I'm loving it.
I know. I love Prop Hunt. I wish that they would make one. I want them to like release new game modes, and they're basically just the other like Gmod thing. So like murder was my fucking favorite.
I don't like murder just because there's not much to do.
You murder people and then you murder.
There's not much to do in Prop Hunt either.
Yeah, but Prop Hunt has like more of a goal. Whereas if you're a civilian in murder, it's walk around.
It's try to figure out who the murderer is, so you can
try to figure out who the murderer is,
so you can shoot them with a gun.
Yeah, and it's also really fun. It's like, who the fuck has the gun? And then the murderer is defending the gun, and it's great.
And then you throw your bodies at it until you get it, and then you shoot him.
The other one that I fucking loved, I don't know if you guys have ever played it, but it's Slender Man. Did you ever play that on Gmod?
No.
Oh, it's so fun because you get basically imagine there's the group of players, they're out trying to collect the 8 pages, and you have an entire group of people going for them this time, and you have Slenderman. And whenever you appear in front of somebody, they have like a health bar that goes down the more you look at them.
Sure.
And so you can go invisible, and you can pop up behind corners and jump scare people over and over. It's really fun.
Yeah. Steely said, alternatively, some players can find too many running enemies frustrating. I guess it's a matter of balance, as all things are. As all things are, to be fair.
Yeah, because you might have that the character. I don't know if the player. Well, it can happen with the players, obviously, but I think it would be more common where you have the character who's like, me no like goblins. Why they always run me want kill? That kind of bullshit.
Well, I think one of the beauties of having things run is that you get the hunt, right?
Ooh, yeah.
Where it becomes, where did they go, right? And they can lead you through many different, and this can happen for like any encounter, right? Doesn't matter if it's a combat encounter or you're trying to find a person, right? Like just in general to talk to them. The hunt is really thrilling because it's you find the clues that lead you to the supposed place where the person is going to be, and then you're able to
maybe the goblins who ran away ran into a goblin camp where there's even more goblins to kill.
Absolutely.
And now that they're in their camp, they can't go anywhere else. Not really, anyway.
Well, and then it's like, if they go there, then it's like, okay, now we have a whole, like, maybe we scout the whole compound, right? And then figure out if there are, like, goblin watchers that we can take down quietly to maybe, like, not raise the alarms and get in there and get as many as possible, or try to free people that we might have found while we scouted, or it can become a whole series of things.
It can become a whole thing.
A hunt can lead to so much, especially if you can lead them through different like encounters even. Just like now it's, instead of just this hunt, it's now also we're solving a mystery for this because we need to figure out what's going on here, because yes, this is important, but like we just got presented with, there's somebody here who's killing people. Is it related? Is it the same person? Like I don't know.
And would you look at that? Your little encounter with 3 goblins that ran away turned into a fucking entire adventure all on its own.
It could. It very much could.
On the subject of running enemies, one of my favorite little things to do as a GM is to have the enemy route and flee right as they are on like 1 hit left, so that if the player lands that attack of opportunity, they get that satisfying kill of, as it turns to run, they swing at them and they drop right as they turn to run away.
Nice.
Oh, it's always so satisfying.
There's
and
also,
then even if they miss, you can have that satisfying moment when they turn and run, and they see you about to swing your sword, and they electric slide underneath it.
And then they just fucking book it out of there, and the fighter's like, no. And again, it's still fun, even though it's a negative effect.
A negative outcome.
And that can lead to the character development, even having a grudge against the one that got away. Kind of thing.
Absolutely. It again, a fleeing enemy can lead to so many, like, just like everything in D&D, a fleeing enemy can lead to so many different options, right?
Same with a surrendering enemy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Like, this is the thing: options upon options upon options upon options upon options upon options. The hunt sounds amazing. In that case, it's great. I was actually thinking more of when the enemy runs and just disappears off the edge of the map, never to be found again. Sure, that could also
happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
If that's what you need to have happen, absolutely.
Well, so at that point, I go, usually in that case, they don't give a shit about that whatever ran away anyway. So because they're not gonna pursue it. If they pursue it, then it's like, then I can work with this, right?
Then it's somewhere.
Yeah. Unless it's like something that's very important, or you really want that one goblin to make a difference somehow, to come back to bite them somehow. Like, there are many options to make it feel like a organic kind of thing. And if you're playing a hero, it's a bit of an issue because you're like, well, that threat is still out there. That's also true. It could induce their paranoia, even, right?
Yep.
And like you could even have that goblin go and pledge himself to a more powerful like entity.
Gods.
And
The dark powers.
Yeah, and then like gain power that way and become something that they face later on because
Because of like a corn zerker.
He's
or
just
whatever
like,
it is.
He's just like, hey, and then they're like, oh fuck.
And now it's a red goblin.
Yeah.
So it's just a tiny hobgoblin.
Painted himself red so he's faster.
Oh shit.
It's true.
Are there chaos orcs?
No, unfortunately.
What?
I wish.
Why is that?
I don't know. It's never been a thing, as far as I know. As far as I know.
So Games Workshop never thought of it. Got it.
Well, so I don't know if it's that or if orcs just don't matter to them because, well, that's the thing. They don't need to pledge to. They want to fight the gods. They don't want to pledge themselves to the gods.
Yeah, that's true. But you'd think that they'd be like, "Hey, corn's pretty cool."
Oh, I'm sure they're like, if they even grasp the concept. They have Gork and Mork though. Gork and Mork.
Yeah,
are
that's true. They've got Gork and Mork.
They're the strongest. They're the biggest
Yeah.
and the strongest. Everything. You know. You don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
The final thing I like to do that is so underutilized. I don't think I've ever had a GM who has let this happen in their game. Is not fleeing or surrendering, but enemies turning on their allies due to diplomacy or intimidation. You know, if you fucking kill your friend, we'll let you go.
Oh, sure.
And you turn an enemy to be your ally. I've never seen that. I've done it myself as the DM, but I've never had it happen to me when I'm a player.
I think that's because players don't try to do it, usually.
Possibly. I just know a lot of GMs are afraid to, quote-unquote, make the encounter easier because of it.
I mean...
Yeah, I mean, all you need to do is have your greasy man come up and pin them, and then you just win. I think we all know that.
Well, that's true. But also, I think... I understand the... I understand that kind of sentiment. I think that if they are at that point where they can do that, I think the fight's going to be pretty trivial anyway.
So I'm not saying the fight starts and you instantly convert one.
No. I'm not saying that either. I'm saying like if you're at that point where you've killed enough that you're pretty confident you could sway one of them to your side.
Exactly.
Right? Like they're probably going to win it anyway, right? Like let's be honest at that point.
I return to you now at the turn of the tide.
Well, perfect.
Always at the turn of the tide.
We were gonna start again, actually, right now. After I read this, maybe the equivalent of a chaos orc would be order orcs. They're very refined and civilized. Sadly, that usually gets them killed and loaded into the nearest orc catapult. That's true.
Yeah.
Well, you do have those smart boys.
Yeah,
not
you do
the
have
weird
the
boys, but the
yeah.
I don't remember.
The mechs, basically.
Basically.
Did I tell you that the newest bestiary in Pathfinder added animated catapults as enemies?
That sounds
Nice.
amazing. I love
For
that.
3 actions, they can slam you with their handle. Their second action, they can grab you and load you into their handle.
Nice.
And for their third action, they launch you 120 feet away.
Yes.
It's
I love
amazing.
it.
Of disbelief. So verisimilitude is simply how much like real life are the characters and situations that we encounter in this world. How much can we relate to it? How much does it make sense?
As much
Now,
as you
of
want
course,
it to.
there is a suspension of disbelief. We're in a fantasy world. People are throwing spells. We have fantastic monsters. We're breaking the laws of physics right and left.
Right, and I just want to put it before we get to that point because I assume he's going to be there. But as long as your world is consistent, there is no problem whatsoever. I can have my suspension of disbelief regardless of whatever it is. You tell me how the world works, and I go, okay, that's how the world works. As long as you don't break that with, inconsistencies, then it's like, okay, we're good, right?
I agree with that sentiment as well. I know not everyone else does, so just make sure your table agrees to those rules.
What do you mean?
Because there are tables who don't want... there's the people who got mad that Pathfinder has guns now. And
yeah,
they're
but they were there. they've been a thing in Pathfinder.
Oh, and people have been mad since they were added.
Okay.
Back in, yeah. But
they're
that's
just
what I'm
being
saying.
mad.
Oh, I know, but I'm saying if your table doesn't like guns and you as the GM are the only one who likes guns in the fantasy world, maybe agree with the table to not use guns.
Well,
Make
yeah,
everyone
that
happy.
again, that is still being consistent as long as like this is the thing. You whatever you set up in your session 0, that's how
Right,
it's how
exactly.
the world is going to be, right? Like you're
Yeah,
going to be consistent with it.
Yes, we're saying the same thing.
Yes, we are saying the same thing. That's what I was trying to tell you by saying the same thing over and over.
And left. We also have a suspension in disbelief in terms of storytelling, in which we've all heard truth is stranger than fiction. We have rules of storytelling that we adhere to that really apply to real life. We have coincidences in real life. In fact, you can find all sorts of incredible coincidences. But if we have kind of things, or a sudden ending to something that doesn't make sense, people complain about it. People say this isn't the way stories should work. It lacks verisimilitude. They're not going to suspend their disbelief beyond the rules of storytelling. And we're going to talk about that when we're building encounters, the storylines of our the NPCs and the way cities have developed. We're going to be thinking about balancing the verisimilitude and also suspension of disbelief in terms of having fun. The characters are the center of the world. They're the ones that are going to be meeting the leaders of these places and being asked to do tasks and other things that in real life might be a little unrealistic. So that balance is going to be really important. We're also always going to be thinking when we're creating the world that this is a game. This is a game with rules that constrain the action. So for example, when we create our map, we're going to be thinking about a hex structure. When the players are moving on the map, we're going to be making sure that we have them map their progress, know how much time has gone by. When we have battles, again, this is my view of this. You can also not adhere to this if you want. You can take some other things that I have. But I always say that you need to use miniatures. You need to have a board out with squares and everything. We used to say, again, this is my get off my lawn kid moment. When we used to run in people's campaigns years ago, and you'd ask about how was so-and-so's campaign, and they would go, he doesn't use miniatures. And we were always like, ooh, okay. Because that means that
I'm glad that he's self-aware and says like this is my thing. It's not, you don't have to worry about it. I'm glad, because without that I would be going, well, we don't need to, right?
I love theater of the mind.
That's exactly.
I don't use miniatures either, just personally speaking. However, like I will, because I'm cheap.
Well, they're expensive.
However,
they are.
Trust me, I know.
I will make sure that like if there's a combat encounter, for instance, I draw it out.
Yeah.
I have where everyone is roughly like I use graph paper in the little boxes or 5x5. I also have a campaign that I take part in where we do use miniatures.
Sure, yeah.
And for that, the approach that we take is everyone moves in real space until like a map is necessary, and then everyone just like puts themselves in whatever 5x5 square essentially they would most fit in if like all of a sudden you were to overlay a grid on top of real space. What 5x5 square would you most mathematically fit in?
Yeah, I understand. Like,
so I may move diagonally slightly a couple feet to my left so that I'm standing exactly in a 5x5 square.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I like minis. I like them a lot. I've bought a few minis over the time, and I'm like, I'll just use whatever mini or whatever I need to use in order to like signify what's where and all that kind of stuff when we get to a combat encounter, or if we need something drawn up in order for them to understand that, right? Because I know in my brain I can't remember some things very well without that visual representation. So it's very helpful to me to do that. But I have done just theater of the mind in the past, where it's just you move 20 feet this way, okay, you're there, and I just take notes like to kind of remember, though even then I sometimes forget. But yeah, there's no need for it, but if you want to use it, go for it, and if you don't want to use it, go for it,
Typically in theater of the mind, weirdly enough, I usually use just 30-foot increments, almost strictly 30-foot increments.
Okay.
Because that's a move action, you know?
Yeah.
How many move actions away from this guy am I? Oh,
That
you're
makes
about
sense.
1 or 2 move actions away from the person. You know, you don't get messy with, oh, you're 25 feet or 15 feet from him unless they specifically want to be.
Right.
Yeah.
So that usually makes theater of the mind a lot easier to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously we use grids and stuff in Devils and Dice because, one, it's for the visual representation, but also it's kind of cool to see those little boys going around doing their thing.
Yeah. And since you guys fucking have so many things in your party, it really helps me to keep track of where shit is.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, you may be 26 feet away when moving in real space, but like as soon as like combat happens, you immediately snap to being 25 feet away.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The bad thing are not constrained by the rules. The dice can be your friend, both good and bad. Sometimes the rolls go with you, sometimes they go against you.
Yeah.
But if you don't use the dice, or if you don't have miniatures to really see where we are in space in this battle, the ranges of spells, if it's all just sort of talked through, you know, theater of the mind, and again, if you like that way, go for it. But when I set up my world, I'm thinking about the fact that we're going to use miniatures, our battles, our encounters, when we explore, you know, a dungeon or a cave.
I just want to. He kind of went past it really quickly. Like I agree, dice are your friend, but also like he's saying it as if there are some people who don't use dice to play D&D.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
they might be talking about dice rollers, like online.
Oh, maybe if he's doing that,
Maybe.
then okay. But at the same time, I don't think so. I don't know. The implication's weird. I don't know what he's talking about, I guess, clearly enough. And who doesn't play D&D without the dice?
You mean you weren't playing D&D with the dartboard?
Hey,
Have
man,
you not seen that video?
Actually, no, I haven't. You'll have to show me later.
Oh,
but also,
I would love to.
I have actually. You know what? I have played D&D without dice for a little while.
Deck of cards?
No, a number system. In the sense of, you think of a number 1 to 20. The person guesses a number between 1 and 20. Then you count how many between that number that you have and they picked are. In the sense of, if I pick 3 and they pick 1, I count forward 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then whatever I get is the number. It was a system that I used a little bit. It was strange, but it worked out just fine because we had to go outside for a second. And then, and we were all outside.
And then the game ended.
Well, no, we had to go outside for a little bit, and then after we were outside, we went back inside, and then we used our dice. There wasn't a table or anything outside. We didn't want to get our dice gross.
That's fantastic.
So, you know.
Improvise, adapt, overcome.
Exactly. Like, so I will say that there are ways.
I would just Google like number generator and just do 1 through 20.
Left my phone inside. I do whatever you need to do is what I'm saying. So it's possible.
Mm.
Why is it
in
not
terms of the game? Because again, the dice are your friend. The dice are a neutral arbiter. Chance. Again, you modify your chances.
My video's still not loading, so I'm watching the Unraveled on Kirby.
Strategy in terms of
And then I'm just
battle, where you
giving
are
my thoughts
tactically
when
in
you
the
guys
battle.
can
You
talk.
modify rolls as much as you can, but in the end, the rolls and things. The rolls force you to make new decisions. You know, you may in fact have some incredible encounter come down to one roll. The old I'm rolling in front of the screen right now, folks, and your characters realize, uh-oh, he's not going to fudge this one. This is for real, right? And those are exciting moments because it is the roll. I'm saying to the players, we're going to have chance to decide this. We've put together all our stuff here,
like,
all our
assume
buffs.
fudging?
We've done the best we can, and it's come down to this roll. Very exciting. So the final
sorry.
So I'm not like prone to fudging like just
Yeah,
at all.
me either.
However, I have done like open rolls in front of people when it was a
Well,
dice roll.
Absolutely. What I'm Sorry.
that determines whether or not someone lives or dies.
Sure.
So then that way everyone can see it and everyone's sort of like involved per se.
Right. Yeah. That's
If
fine.
that way, if they die, there is no question. everyone knows, like, no one, I would hope, would assume I would fudge.
Well, that's what I'm asking. That's my question. It's not if you do it or not. Is there an assumption if it's behind the screen that it's?
I would hope there is not an assumption I would fudge and save someone's life, but I don't want to have even that lurking fear, so to speak.
Right, exactly. Well, that's the thing, right? Because like what he said made me go, do you assume that there could be fudging at all times if it's behind the screen? Because that's weird.
Schrodinger's
Yeah,
fudge.
because
Right, Schrodinger's fudge, exactly.
yeah, if that's the case, then you're too paranoid and you're more stressed. And like in this game where you're supposed to be having fun, you are way too stressed about cheating.
Right, and I assume that's not the case, right? Because nobody wants to stress over that, like to that degree. I'm just wondering because it's a weird thing to just say. It's a really weird thing.
So then let me ask you guys. I think I have admitted in the past that I will fudge dice.
I have in the past as well. Yep.
Yeah.
You both
so
have.
when you guys are playing my campaign, are you guys
I don't give a
always
fuck.
assuming or wondering if I am fudging?
No, I don't give a fuck.
There you go.
That's the thing, because I don't like I know that, like, you've said that you will, and that doesn't bother me. That's the thing, right? Like, if it bothered somebody, I assume they would be, less
Bothered.
or more bothered about it, right? I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna have fun regardless.
Yeah. Me personally, I do admit to fudging very rarely and never on something important.
Oh,
typically, the reason I will fudge is typically the players won't realize this, but if this roll goes poorly, the campaign will derail in a very uninteresting way. Someone fails a knowledge check, so they miss this completely important piece of information they can't really naturally get easily anywhere else.
Okay.
And it's not a fun mystery to not have that clue.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Aiden said, if someone's gonna fucking die or something, I will absolutely roll that shit in the open because it adds to the suspense.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't save Boo's life.
No, you did not. And I was okay with that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, absolutely.
When was that? Were you talking about Owen?
That was Owen, yeah.
Yeah. That is the only time you've ever killed me, isn't it, you fucker?
Yep. I've only killed 2 people in my life. You and someone in Pathfinder.
Nice.
Well, aren't I just the luckiest?
I almost killed someone last weekend. They were 1 hit or failed save away from being done.
Wow.
And then Alejo nearly killed me too. Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I died a few weeks ago when we were downed by something that, like, if you were downed by it, you immediately had 1 failed death save.
Oh, yeah.
And I went right after it, and I rolled a nat 1.
Oh, that's actually very similar to what happened with my player. They just got they're at the end of this undead themed campaign going after a lich, and to kick them off the island, the Pathfinder doomed condition works like that, where when you go down, you need 1 less death save to die. And so over the last 3 or 4 days, this doom aura has taken over the island, so they're permanently doomed too.
Oh,
so if you fail a single death save, you're dead.
Pretty good.
So he dropped once, but familiars in Pathfinder 2e function independently. So he had his familiar use a medicine check to stabilize.
Nice.
Yes.
And so his little doll jumped on him and just started jumping on his chest to do death chest compression.
Yeah. That's great.
The thing that I'm always going to be stressing is keeping it simple. You're going to want to start with a small area, a few settlements, coastline, 100 miles by 150, something like that. You're going to just do the major cities and some geographic locations. You're going to concentrate on enough of the personalities of those cities so that the players have a sense of what they would know as people that had grown up in this town.
Yep,
and then you're not going to worry about too much more. You'll have high-end concepts. You'll have secrets and mysteries and maybe some plot line that's going to evolve over the course of the campaign, just sketched out. You don't have to develop it completely. We're also going to have a sandbox campaign in which the players can go wherever they want, and that, of course, creates an organic development campaign for you as the game master. But you're going to show them You're going to say, in this corner of the sandbox are all sorts of great toys. You can build sand castles. You can have a lot of fun. In this corner of the sandbox is a big thing of mud, a big puddle. There might be something at the bottom of that puddle, that mud pile, but you're going to get dirty. And then in this corner of the sandbox is a big old pile of razor wire. If you go into that razor wire, you're going to get cut. You get hurt. But there could be great rewards there. So you've got to get to the point where now I can go into the razor wire. If players realize that, if they get a sense of how your campaign works, what the threats are, how dangerous things really are, what happens when they decide before they're ready to go into the razor wire.
They go into the really safe area, they take it over, and they enslave everybody in it. Immediately.
They'll go in a direction that you may want. They might not. We're going to talk about improvising, how to create situations, how to have situations set up if you need to improvise. So that's going to be our basic format. We're always going to be trying to have fun. We're always going to emphasize character. We're always going to think that these characters, NPCs, monsters, whoever live in this world, they have a history in this world, they have things with one another. We're going to always create our world constrained by the rules, thinking about miniatures, thinking about how the die rolls can be our friend, and we're going to keep it simple. Okay, so the first thing we got to do is come up with a concept for our world, and that'll be our next episode.
Oh, bye.
Fucking yeah, dude. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Solid, yeah.
That's a great introduction video. Like didn't realize it was an introduction video, to be fair.
I wish I could have more complaints so I could give more comments, but
Right.
like all I have is well, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah. My only
Like,
complaint is that it's all obviously been said before, but that doesn't make it bad.
that doesn't make it. Yeah, I think it's good to have. Like, unfortunately, there aren't enough videos that are out there like this, in the sense of
Well, the problem is these videos like this don't get views.
that. Well, that's my issue. They need to be more, regardless. I think that the message needs to be out there in more voices because it's something that is overlooked because of that.
I don't think it's overlooked because not enough people say it. I think it's overlooked because people don't want to hear it.
Oh, really?
They hated him for he told the truth.
No, that's
I
interesting.
found the scroll of truth. D&D is about having fun.
That's interesting. I actually didn't expect that was that would be your stance on that.
No, a lot of people are so set in their ways about how they play the game, how they've done it for 30 plus years. Can't tell you how many comments I get of, I've been playing D&D since the 70s. I know what I'm doing more than you. Your advice doesn't matter.
That's you're right. There are a lot of people like that, in which case I usually go, I don't care about what you say. Like you're
like
that's
I'm
not
clearly not going to change your mind with
yeah
anything I
well
say.
it's also just like, just because you've been playing it for that long doesn't mean that this is any different, like, or that this is any that this is wrong. Like your experience doesn't make this wrong. I don't
Exactly.
You need to
The moment you stop trying to learn from others is the moment you begin to stagnate.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
True
Absolutely.
of anything in life.
Anyway, like I was saying, very fucking good video. What is this guy's channel again? D&D Homebrew. He's only got 511 subscribers. If you're here and you haven't subscribed to this guy, fucking go do it. Oh my god. Like, inflate.
What's it called when not repressiveness, redundantness. Redundancy, thank you.
I like
Redundantness is important.
Yes.
All of the contents of this video have been said before, like hodgepodged through various videos.
Hell, we
but
have.
It's nice. Yeah, exactly. It's just nice to see it all put somewhere simply, like, laid out for a beginner to the system, perhaps.
Yeah, I would totally send this to somebody who wants to start doing like a homebrew world and just go, this is a playlist. I assume he has more than, this. I didn't check to see any other.
Send him the channel link.
Yeah, exactly. Just send him the channel link and go, this guy seems to know what he's talking about. at least from the one video that I've seen, go dig it. Have fun, you know?
So how do we feel about sliding in a bonus video here at the end? It's 6 minutes long.
Oh my god.
That's yours, isn't it, you piece of shit?
It's not, no.
Okay.
It
There.
is relevant.
Oh
to
wait,
what we talked
Steely
about
says,
earlier.
hold on. Steely says there, 513 subscribers. We did it!
Yeah.
Dude, as long as I can do that at least once, for at least one person to subscribe to somebody else that actually, like, does good content, then I feel really good. Anyway, you were saying about this video.
So it's a video that another creator I follow made, and it is criminally underviewed. It only has 500 views.
Okay.
But it is playing D&D with a dartboard.
Okay.
How to play D&D using a dartboard.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure, why not? Fuck it.
It is very lighthearted.
I don't want to...
So I've made a lot of D&D friends.
Oh,
And
it's,
another 514 subscribers.
nice. Yes. I'm gonna subscribe with our channel later anyway. I know of this person.
Felthaleb is great. Yeah, I've gotten to play with. He's really freaking nice.
Yeah, he seems pretty cool.
He's a really cool guy.
All right, cool.
So I've made a lot of D&D friends over the past year, and I've got to hand it to you all. Some of you are obsessed with these math rocks. Are some of you okay?
No.
Now, the game of D&D and most other tabletop
I got a
RPGs
fucking problem,
are
dude.
reliant on these little shapes in one form or another. That's because dice represent the simplest form of immediate random number generation, or RNG. Their probability is readily determinable, and their results are easily ascertainable.
Yep.
But where's the pizzazz? Where's the chutzpah? Sure, it feels good.
Oh my god, he actually
momentarily
pronounced
to
it
feel the
right.
clickety-clack of the dice when you roll them down the dice tower, but where's the thrill? I'm sure that some of you feel comforted by the die. Let the gods of RNG determine your fate. It's out of your hands, only your various bonuses. But deep down, I know you crave more. I see the boxes of doom, I see the high variance dice, I see that giant dice that you use to ruin your roll whenever someone makes their last death saving throw. I know exactly what you want.
I'm feeling personally called out right now.
Bitch, I use beautiful dice.
As someone who has ordered and has yet to receive high variance dice and has a big dice, I'm feeling real called out.
So wait, what is a high variance dice?
It's a dice that has like it'll have 1 1 1 1 3 3 3 4 4 4, kind of like that.
Oh.
So like you're more likely to get a nat 1 or a nat 20, but there's like 16 isn't a number, 18 isn't a number, stuff like that.
What's it
Weird.
for?
Huh?
What's it for?
High variance.
High variance. Lots of nat 1s or nat 20s when you want to roll a death saving throw and say, roll a death saving throw with this.
Oh, could be a fun wild magic surge to replace all D20 rolls with high variance.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I would love that. Yes. I do cardistry and collect playing cards. More than once I've wished that I could think of a good way to incorporate cards into TTRPGs. The dark thing makes me think of that.
So wait, who said that?
Steely did.
Steely, you should look into Dust and Dragons. It is a Western fantasy tabletop role-playing game, and they use a deck of playing cards as their way to do stuff.
Oh.
So you might be able to steal the system.
I apologize.
Or
I just
incorporate
realized
the system, I
that
should say.
the overlay was up for like a minute there. I
Wondering that
apologize.
right now.
Yep, I apologize. But regardless, hey, if you like this video when we're watching it, please go watch the video itself as well and give it a like. Like, obviously, you know, we're probably not going to be like really constructive, maybe. The link will be in the description when this comes out, and I will put it in the chat right now. If I could get a link to that really quick.
Yes.
Or you could put it in the chat, probably. Actually, no, I don't think you're allowed to.
Oh, why not?
Because you're not a mod, but I could make you one.
Whatever you need to do.
Okay, well,
I mean, you're an affiliate.
that's true. I trust you.
He is affiliated with us.
It is true.
Not in a business sense, but nobody's affiliated.
That should work. Hopefully that works. I click it. It does work. Cool. All right. Wait, did that work? Anyway, okay. We are good. Oh wait, no, you gave me a search link, not the actual link to the video. You fucking, what are you What are you doing? No, I've got the link now. That's the actual link. Go to that one. Anyway, you fucking play the video.
You want reward, and you want danger. And boy, do I have something for you. What if a roll wasn't a roll at all? What if you told the RNG gods, I'm taking fate into my own shaky hands? Once
they are very
you held
shaky.
the key to your own success. Kings, queens, other non-binary royalty. I present the dartboard. In a game where every great adventure begins in a tavern, what could be better than D&D and darts? Is it random? Technically, no. Is it random? It's debatable. Is it dangerous? Oh God, please don't buy that for your children.
Good at
the
darts.
dartboard is a series of concentric sections divided.
Yeah, we know what a dartboard is.
Huh. Number 20 important again? Anyway, in most games, the outer ring doubles the number and the inner ring triples.
I will say, not all
the
people
bull,
know.
or single bull, counts for 25 points.
That's fair.
And the bullseye, or double bull, counts for 50 points. At this point in the video, you can probably see where I'm going with this. Really, you could probably see where I was going with this if you saw the thumbnail. I suggest that you use the dartboard for your various checks. The minimum score is 1, the maximum score is 60, so why not consider this a type of D60 and use this fancy new dice disc for your D&D games? Now I can hear you saying, this is nothing like a dice. You don't have the same chance of hitting anyone.
I have a contention.
Okay.
Instead of a D60, I mean, like, well, so I'm fine with it being a D60, sure, but at the same time, the bullseye should be crit. I feel, right? Because it's the hardest to hit.
Yeah.
Why would it just be 50? Why not crit?
No, it should be a crit.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think it's he's following normal dartboard scoring.
Well, even so, like, it's
a crit in darts. No.
It's really hard to do.
Oh yeah, but I think technically the triple 20 is harder to hit.
Probably.
The triple 20.
Yeah.
Yep.
It is tripled 20, so it's 60 points.
Yeah, the center is only 50. There's one specific block that is 60. Yep.
I see.
It's up and to the right.
Oh, that's weird.
Like a dice. You don't have the same chance of hitting anywhere on the board. It's harder to hit the larger numbers. And you'd be right. That's why I see the dartboard as a sort of high-risk, high-reward tool to add a little stakes to your quote-unquote rolls. Let's start with stats. Knowing probability plays a big role in setting your DCs. I'm sure you're wondering, assuming an equal chance of hitting anywhere on the board, what would an average score be, an average roll? It's 12.82. Not exactly a bad starting point for setting DCs. In fact, that's 2 higher than the roll for a D20. The board itself is also not easily cheated. In A Statistician Plays Darts, 3 Stanford scholars set out to figure out the optimal way to play the game. They reveal some pretty things about what it takes to throw optimally. If you figured, hey, I'll just aim at the most valuable point section, you've probably been duped by Brian Gamlin, the man credited with creating the modern dartboard in 1896. Gamlin allegedly boasted that he arranged the dartboard to penalize the inaccuracy of drunkards. Note the extremely low numbers next to 20 section. In reality, unless you are extremely accurate, you should really be aiming towards the bottom left of the board where the odds are a little more favorable. I'll link the article in the description. The dartboard section design makes it a versatile tool in the hands of a DM who's willing to be creative. Got a check you would normally roll a D20 for? You could choose to eliminate the double and triple sections to keep your dartboard a little bit more similar to a D20. Tired of doing group rolls? Well, you could have your party throw multiple, aggregating their score. The chance to double or even triple a score allows you to really play around with higher DCs. And also, I mean, the bullseye. The bullseye! Tell your players that a bullseye represents automatic success, and can you imagine the table reaction if that dart hits? My point here is that there are opportunities available with this tool that you just can't get out of dice alone. That's not to say that there aren't drawbacks.
So, a few things.
Okay.
One, this assumes that your players have never heard of Brian David Gilbert, and his video is time to get good at dice.
You mean
Not dice.
time to get good at darts?
Darts.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And
then they're gonna fucking start doing the ninja and killing everybody.
Yeah, because as soon as you like hand them a dart and then say, throw a dart at the board, they're gonna crack their knuckles and look at you, knowing you just made a mistake. You just fucked up because you've allowed them to like scale a 200-foot wall with no climbing equipment and told them the center of the board is an automatic success, and they're gonna nail the center of that board, and they're gonna look at you and say, "What now, bitch?"
Yeah. Also, my only other the problem that I have at the moment, I don't know if more might come up or some might get taken away, is this assumes that at the D&D table, I'm in the mood to stand up. I don't want to have to stand up and throw a dart. Fuck you.
Well,
I have to sit down and roll my dice. Now, here's the thing. I would be more interested if you're like if we're playing outside in like a dark, spooky forest or some shit. We got floodlights painted on hanging from the trees.
You just need all of the all of this taken care for you, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, you're running the game for me for me to have fun. Get the floodlights out. Anyway, so you get the floodlights, you aim them at the big circle on the ground. It's like, here, take this lawn dart and yeet that shit. And there we go. That's how you do
I
it.
see. Lawn darts is better than regular darts.
Yeah, because lawn darts can kill you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it can kill a man.
That's how you know it's metal.
I see.
That's how you roll death saving throws.
Fuck, dude. You know what I want? Fuck.
You have no, Boo.
Okay.
You have someone lay down on the lawn, and then everyone throws a lawn dart.
Oh,
that's how you roll death saving throws.
I hate this so much. I hate this joke. I hate this bit.
Fuck the lawn darts. You know what we're doing? We're gonna go play in a quarry back behind Aiden's house, because I know you live next to a quarry, you fucking weird fuck. We're gonna go play in the quarry, and then
I said no such thing.
No.
Yeah, you live near a quarry, so we're gonna go hang out in Aiden's quarry. We're gonna draw a big fucking circle on the wall of the quarry. We're gonna play like 300 feet back, and then okay, go ahead and make a save. Whip out my fucking potato cannon and shoot that bitch.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That's how you do it.
Paintball gun.
Huh?
Oh my god.
No, fucking
No.
paintball gun, you pussy. Potato cannon, baby.
Oh god. Okay.
I'm Southern, I've made one. Long time ago.
With the ability to throw darts. Not everyone has the space to hang a dartboard, and sure, some of you are worried about hurting yourself or your drywall. But dartboards aren't as expensive as some dice sets or other tabletop accessories. They come in different formats that won't necessarily cause you to ruin your walls or your hands, and most are extremely easy to find, use, and install. And allow me to address the elephant in the room. Yes, this is a skill-based game. The point of dice is to ensure real random number generation, not just the appearance of it, and the game is centered around that concept. Certain players are going to be better at using a dartboard than others, but also remember, you're the DM. You have the ability to control the circumstances in and out of game. There are real...
Yeah, guess what? There's also people that are like absolutely dice cursed.
Yeah.
Hello, Brogan.
Yeah, Brogan.
Hello.
Dude, I've seen someone even worse than Brogan. I've seen someone roll a nat 1 3 times in a row.
Oh no.
Oh man, you didn't see our most recent Warhammer game where I rolled a 1 in 729 chance.
That's
and I
true.
missed 7 different attacks.
That's true. It was
Yep.
it was great. Yeah.
Yeah, we were like, okay, what the, like, I was okay with it. I was pissed, but I was okay with it.
The soul.
Yeah, I was okay with it. And then I asked, like, okay, how do we fucking calculate the odds of this?
Yeah, somebody commented and actually told us. It was great.
Yeah, the odds. It was 1 in 729 chance of doing that. And I did it.
Thankfully, he could re-roll it afterwards.
Yeah, I could re-roll all hits, which, thank fuck.
Yep.
And then I won because,
Yep.
But, anyway.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right.
that you can use to cut down on player skill, and I don't mean just setting higher DCs. You can have them throw from further away, stand on a leg, blindfold them. Okay, maybe not that one. If the numbers are an issue, just choose a spot on the board and judge the check by how close they got to that section. For contestant rolls, go shot for shot, attempting to reduce their total score. Use your creativity, and I think that the dartboard really opens up a lot of possibilities.
Sure.
Ultimately, I think that the dartboard of Doom works as a great option. Dare your players to dart for their lives if they don't trust those pesky dice. Sure, it's not fair, but fairness isn't always what makes things fun. As always, communicate with your players about their expectations and go from there. But if you're looking for a way to spice up those really tense moments, and if your players don't mind taking away the more random elements of the game, the dartboard is a nice option to add a little spice to your game.
Yeah.
That's all
Just
I
like
have
any
for now.
homebrew
I wanted to say thank you for 2,000 subscribers.
Good to
I'm still
change
working
things up.
on my 1,000 subscriber video that will be out
hopefully
as my next video, and it has a lot of cool...
Yeah, it's not pausing. There we go. Okay. I was going to say. Good.
I'll admit I've thought of using a dartboard before.
Oh, I see. A savant coming forth, with the idea before somebody else showed him it. No, that's...
Believe it or not, I do not exist purely as a consumer.
What?
and as it happens, I actually had the same idea, but it was just a few seconds before Aiden.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, two savants. Oh.
I've had people roll. I joke around and I say it's a D2. It's a quarter. I've had them flip heads or tails for death saving throws.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. That's nice. That's cool.
That's basically kind of what it is.
Then you just gotta hope they didn't bring a double-sided coin.
Oh. Yeah, that's a neat video. It's a little fun. Fun thing.
A bunch of quirky stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there is something to be said about using an entirely new rolling system. Because at the end of the day, pretty much every tabletop RPG, nearly all of them use dice in some form.
Yeah, nearly all.
And so it is an interesting way to finally do like a hard break from some sort of gaming tool, whether it be dice, cards, or controllers.
Sure.
I don't know.
So yeah, that's Felthalab. Go check them out. Go watch the video. Like it and such, if you like it. Anyway,
if you like it.
Yeah. Well, hey, sometimes
I know it's just funny.
Sometimes people just like things, just cause, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so
speaking of, how long have we been in the video so far?
Like 3 hours and 16 minutes and counting.
Okay, then it's way too late for me to say like, favorite, and subscribe.
Yeah, no, it's way too late. You couldn't ever tell them that they should subscribe to the channel or like the video or
hey, subscribe to the channel and like the video.
Oh my God,
I was gonna say, hey, the video has started, and we haven't said anything. Hey, you should like, favorite, and subscribe. That kind of bullshit.
Yes. Anyway.
Hello, Prince Boo, our third host.
Oh my God, hi.
Oh, hello.
I'm here.
All right. Well, that'll do it for us for tonight. Thank you everybody for hanging out, for watching, for all that you have done, all of the donations, all of the everything. If you like the podcast,
you should donate money to it.
Well, so if you like the podcast, then you'll probably like the special member that we've had on our panel today. Why don't you?
Thanks for coming,
Aiden. Thanks, Aiden. I appreciate you coming out. It's really been,
It's a minimum of $50 a week to keep the podcast ongoing. So if the podcast fails, know that it was on you.
I hate you so much. You do these bits. I hate them.
And all the supplies needed to keep the podcast running is just Monster and Warhammer 40k models.
Fucking Steely tips a fucking $1. What?
Damn it,
Thank
Steely,
you.
stop it. We're
Thank you.
fucking around. Jeez.
Says like the video, subscribe now. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh my god.
And well, I was gonna say,
Well,
Brogan
A
is.
monetary donation, that means even more than a subscription.
I hate you. I hate you. Shut up. Let me talk to Brogan. Brogan, hey, how are you? First off, how are you?
I'm
doing?
okay. I'm ready to start the stream.
That's good. Good. I'm glad you're ready. Also, are you are you working on anything that you want to shout out? Anything like that?
I've got some secrets in the works.
Ooh.
But for now, I'm just gonna plug, I'm known at ones here on YouTube and on Twitter. I make Pathfinder 2e content and sometimes talk about other TTRPG systems.
Cody was a dick to him.
Who was? Oh.
Long ago. Long ago.
Yeah, I have some projects in the work, but nothing I want to announce quite yet.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
And,
never give release dates. Ever.
It's true. Yeah, links in the description. I think I put them there already. So if you want to go check out his Twitter and his channel, please go there. Go. Yeah, I did. I'm a good person. So yeah, he's your good friend Brogan. Go give him a sub because he's got good content. Because he make good content. Anyway.
And also on whenever days, we play a campaign that nobody watches.
I hadn't even gotten into the spiel yet, you bitch.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I thought you had forgotten.
No, you.
Everybody else did.
No. So
nobody cares about it.
you can catch all of us on Devils and Dice, which is usually put up on Wednesdays when we do it, and it's at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you like our dynamic of talking to each other and being dicks, it's great.
Except in that we do it with slightly different voices.
That's true. It's a good time. But yes, that's that. And if you like the podcast, you can find it Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the live recording, and then again on Fridays at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then again as a audio only version on Mondays at around 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on your podcasting service of choice. And if it's not on there, tell me. And other than that, I think that's everything. Yeah.
So yeah.
So, hey, thanks, and we'll see you next week. Well, most of us will.
Goodbye, bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Make sure you donate to the stream.
I
Bye now. Yeah.